one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Uh, yesterday, President Biden had a fundraiser. We're going to be talking about that, but make no mistake about it. Folks are suggesting that when you take into consideration the economy, the price we're paying for fuel at the pump, the fact that there is at least two major conflicts going on around the world, goods and services, inflation, folks are suggesting President Joseph R. Biden is the worst president in American history. That came out of the mouth of President Trump just yesterday. President Biden, worst president in U.S. history. So what we're going to be discussing to rather verify or refute that claim coming from the former commander-in-chief Trump himself, President Biden had a fundraiser yesterday. Record turnout in terms of fundraising, $26 million in a single night. So we want to ask right off the bat, if Biden sucks as much as Trump and his detractors are saying, Biden's detractors, how could he do that? Why did that happen? Why are there so many folks willing to donate money to what the worst America has ever had to offer in terms of a president? How did that happen? $26 million in a single night? All of the living former Democratic presidents in attendance, both Obama and Bill Clinton were there. Highest ranking Jewish politician, Chuck Schumer, was there. And of course, a few members of Hollywood and the music industry, Queen Latifah, Lizzo, Stephen Colbert, all in attendance. If this guy sucks, why is that happening? Can somebody please explain that? Make it make sense is what we often state. In addition to that, while Biden was holding a very successful fundraiser, Trump was attending the funeral services for a slain member of law enforcement. There was a New York police officer performing a routine traffic stop, and the individual took his life. And President Trump has met with the family, offered the family condolences, and that's where Trump was in New York as well. At the same time, President Biden was hosting the fundraiser. So we do want to ask as well, does that put Trump in higher moral standard than President Biden? Or is perhaps Trump simply politicizing the death of a member of law enforcement? Now, here is what Trump stated outside the funeral home of this slain officer. It's happening all too often, and we're just not going to let it happen. We have to get back to law and order. So right off the bat, in addition to what we're talking about how Biden could raise such a hell of a lot of money in one night, do you believe President Trump stating we have to get back to law and order? Could President Trump reduce crime in America's urban areas? If so, how? That's what we're going to be discussing today. You know how the program is ran. The program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are always the preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome on the program as well. You know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Whether you're in the comment section or discussing topics with the host, if you have a disagreement, no one gives a damn. Everyone is entitled to free speech. That is how we run the program since its very beginning. So looking right off the bat, Super Chat, Chris, thank you on YouTube. Appreciate the banter, regardless that we don't typically agree. Chris, I do appreciate you coming through. Certainly, we don't always agree. That's how the program is ran. I don't believe there ever should be a time when one American disagreeing with another American should be able to censor said American. Why have First Amendment rights if you can't speak? So thank you, Chris. Appreciate the super chat. So looking in the comments, Yes, if he turns this country communist, says Sandy. Are you suggesting that Biden is putting America on the path to communism? I'd love to hear that statement. So, or are you talking about Trump? So that's what we're asking right off the bat. Can Trump bring down crime in America's urban centers where most of the crime is centered? As he stated, it's happening all too often, and we're not going to let it happen. We have to get back to law and order. Can President Trump bring down crime? And how the hell does Biden, who Trump suggested is the worst president in American history, raise a historic amount of money in one single night? Going straight to the box, Hoodlum, love the name. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Hoodlum, if the box lets you in there, yes, we need law and order over diaper changes. Yikes. Hoodlum, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you? I've been trying to get on with you for about a week now, so I'm very happy and excited.
Very, very nice. Good to have you here. So you heard what was asked. Do you think Trump could bring down crime?
Yeah, I do. He was actually the first president to bring the Sheriff Association and the police associations together in the White House in his last administration. I think that it's from the bottom up when it comes to law enforcement. I do believe that, they need a lot more training. I believe that they need to know a lot more about civil rights. That way they don't violate people's rights. But as far as the crime in the cities and whatnot, I think that some funding and some education would be the way to get that done.
So why didn't he do it when he was president? Why didn't crime come down substantially during his first 4 years?
Well, I think that the councils with the sheriffs and the police association were trying to get together a game plan as far as how to do that most effectively. In the early 2000s, a lot of equipment from the different conflicts in the world were coming back, and the government was looking to wholesale these things, and they decided it would be a great idea to have these tactical vehicles and whatnot be purchased by the police departments and put into play in the American cities. And I don't believe that's the correct tactic. I think that you need to start with community. I think that you need to start looking at disenfranchised.
But wait a minute, when you start saying words like getting the police to adhere to people's civil rights, or as you said, communities that are being disenfranchised, most of the language coming from the right and Trump himself is that that's not even happening. When African Americans were stating that the cops were killing a bunch of them, Trump's response was they're killing more white people. So I don't quite understand where you're going with that, but I'll let you elaborate.
Yeah, so I think that when you talk about crime, you have to talk about it at a community level first, because obviously that's where it's happening. Washington D.C. is not going to know exactly what's happening, in the lower side of Chicago or
True.
Atlanta or any of these communities. So it has to be funded through the community if it's going to be from the federal level. And I do believe that there are good peace officers in this country, but unfortunately it does not require a lot of education to become a police officer, and that's where you find where knowingly or unknowingly they are violating people's civil rights. And I think that a large grant for further education and academies to be set up.
Wait, let me interrupt, because I like what you're suggesting in regards to making sure they don't violate civil rights, requiring more education and things like that. But like I stated, we've had 4 years of Trump already. He has never said anything near what you're saying, requiring cops to be more educated, holding them more accountable, admitting that folks' civil rights are being violated. Trump has never said any of this stuff. Where are you getting this from?
Well, I think that you have to look at the context of the environment when Trump first took his presidency.
What do you mean?
Well, we had the insurance policy enacted, and there were attacks on him. There were a lot of rhetoric as far as whether or not his presidency was legitimate. He could have done. I think that he had to pick and choose what he was going to get done, because he had basically 2 years.
But how do you, okay, your take is the guy was constantly being attacked so much he could only get so much done. What makes you think that's not going to happen again? If President Trump gets reelected, you think it's going to be drama-free with him continuing to attack so many people in the offseason? You think they're going to give him a chance from day 2?
Well, I think that's where, as a country, we need to start holding our politicians and the people that are supposed to be representing us to a higher standard when it comes to the kind of stuff that they're going to do. I don't think that it was good for our country to have 2 impeachment hearings, and the Steele dossier and the Russia. I think that was a huge distraction. I think it widened the divide of the.
But you do understand that President Trump is promising if he gets elected, he is then going to go after everybody who went after him. So he's promising that if you elect him, there's going to be more of the same. It's just going to be coming from him this time.
Well, I think he specifically referred to that as saying that the revenge that he's going to have is going to be through success. And I think that that's a very classy way of saying that, because that is exactly the right answer. If you want to get back at the people that you feel like you wronged or that wronged you, you do that with your success, and they can watch you and your success, and they can grovel in the fact that they had no effect in your direction or what you can get done. And I think that was a very, very polished statement from Donald Trump, and I agree with it. Now, whether or not the Democratic Party could understand what's best for the country and accept him as the president and potentially work with him, I think that they need to get over their hate and resentment.
But let me elaborate a little bit more on what you said. The Democratic Party, as opposed to fighting against Trump, work with the guy and get over their hatred for him. Has Trump did that same recommendation, got over hatred, worked with the other side? Do you believe he did that with either Obama or Biden? Worked with the other side, got over his resentment or disagreements with them, and worked with them? Did you see Trump doing any of that?
Well, I don't think that, honestly, I don't think that Trump has had much time not being attacked in one form or another since 2016, coming down that elevator.
So when you said he hasn't had time since he was attacked in 2016, who was attacking him when he was constantly saying Obama was born in Kenya?
Well, that argument is somewhat off topic, but I personally
wait a minute. If you're going to suggest Trump never got a chance from day one, but then when I bring up an attack towards Obama, it's off topic, how does that work?
Well, because I personally know the person that worked on the research for the birth certificate, and I have firsthand knowledge about that document if you'd like to speak about it.
Send me what you got in your inbox, but I have to move it on. But the final question I want to ask you is, let's say all the information you have is true. Why is Trump attacking Obama? Why couldn't someone else? Why does he have to get knee deep in that?
I guess it relates to one of the questions that you stated in your monologue, and that is, how is it that Joe Biden can raise $26 million in one night? And my response would be because of the involvement of Obama and Clinton. If those two particular individuals did not participate in last night, you would have not had last night.
But that doesn't answer the question I'm asking you. You're talking about what happened last night. I asked you, even if what you're saying suggested that Obama has an incorrect document for a birth certificate, why did Trump have to get involved in that back then? What was his place in that?
Well, I think that every American should be concerned if we potentially have somebody who's not correctly representing themselves to the American people. Whether you're a council member in your local community, or in this particular case, the President of the United States, we have certain requirements that people have to meet. And if they don't meet those, I think that that's kind of a serious issue. And I think that as a proud American that I believe Donald Trump to be, he was raising his concerns. And like I said, I have firsthand knowledge.
Raising his concerns. He told Bill O'Reilly, my detectives in Kenya are finding amazing things. I mean, he literally claims he sent investigators to Kenya. Is that raising concerns, or is that knee deep involved in what is an alleged scandal?
Well, I think that if you had the kind of funds at your disposal and you wanted to take on an investigative type project, then you would probably want to gather as much information that you could, and when you had the resources to do so, you might do the same, correct?
Yeah, but and last question, at the end of it all, there is a video out there of Trump finally saying, yes, Obama was born in America. Any idea why, if you have documents suggesting otherwise, and if Trump spent years also suggesting otherwise, why did he finally come out and say Obama was born in America?
I think it alludes to something that you said, which is just, it doesn't really matter at this point, because, unless we can...
Wait a minute. Being honest always matter. You don't lie just because it doesn't matter.
Well, I think that what I was going to say was that it wouldn't hurt anything to just let it go.
No, you don't. You don't lie. You don't tell a lie to just let something go. If you got documented evidence the guy was born elsewhere, I would just rather not talk about this anymore. You don't make up a lie and say the guy was born here.
Well, if you want to have like an honest conversation about Obama and all that,
I want to have an honest conversation why Trump is ended up saying the guy's born here if he wasn't. Why is he lying?
So let me ask you, where are those? Where are the Obama kids? Do you know?
You're not answering the question I meant. Why did Trump lie about it?
No,
you're asking me. You're answering my question with one of your own while skipping. I'll answer your question, but you were asked one first. Why did Trump lie about it?
I don't believe Trump lied about anything.
You don't believe Trump ever said Obama was born in America?
I haven't seen that footage. I'll have to do some research on that when I get off.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm not saying that you're stating something that isn't factual. I don't have any purview of that,
Okay, fair enough. What's your question?
Okay, so my issue with the Obama administration as a whole is that he represented himself as something that he is not. And like I said, I have firsthand purview knowledge of that particular document. Furthermore, if Michelle Obama's mom is referring to that particular individual as Michael, I have a serious issue with the representation of a nuclear family to the American people and those two kids. It's amazing how nobody knows where those two kids are, what's going on with them. They're like completely out of view, and it's almost like they were actors or props. And do you think that as the style of government that we have and the rules and whatnot that we have in place, do you think that a Manchurian candidate and the perfect nuclear family that is somewhat maybe not what it really seemed to be is honest with the American people?
I don't know, because when it comes to his kids and things like that, folks have asked, did I see pictures of his wife being pregnant? I didn't go that deep into it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not, like I said, send me what you got. But before I move it on, I do want you to hear something, since you said you never saw this.
Barack Obama was born in the United States, period. Now we all want to get back to making America strong and great again.
How do you feel now? Why did he lie about it?
I think that I personally, if I feel strongly about something, I'm going to hold to my virtues, and I'm not going to necessarily waffle, because that's kind of what that is waffling.
Right. So he's lying. So one way or another, he's told some lies. You're calling it waffling, but you are admitting, here is a basic case of Trump telling a clear lie, in your opinion, or as you say, waffling.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
100%. And, I think that that is an attempt of him doing exactly what I would like to see some of the Democrats do. And that is at some point in time, we need to put the hatchet away and overcome the obstacles of our differences. And we can agree to disagree, like you so eloquently say in the beginning of your life. But that also requires work and compromise on both sides. And I think that maybe by him making that statement, it's a compromise to hopefully bring people together.
All right, fair enough, Hoodlum. Spirited debate. You drive a hard bargain. You're always welcome back, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. And that's all I wanted to point out, folks, is that the guy has said Obama was born there. So I don't know what he was doing the prior 3 or 4 years saying Obama was not, but he is on videotape saying that. Look at in the comments, though. What did that say? This dude would write a comment. Oh my God. Obama is related to the Bushes and a lot of presidents. Look, I don't know what the hell is going on with the Obamas at this point. Born in Kenya, his wife is a man. They talk to his grandfather or his father. There are so many things being said about President Obama that I can only come to one conclusion. There is a force out there intent on telling lies about the man. Trump, as you see in the video, is a perfect example. Perfect example of somebody that came out and admitted, period, the guy is born in America. Now let's move on from it, as if he didn't do all of that other stuff 3 years prior. I don't know what's true about Obama, but I know there's a hell of a lot of lies floating around. Looking in the comment section, all distractions. I do agree that there's some distractions there. Republicans are just mad because he was a successful president that was black, says Amir Warwick. There's certainly some of that in there. I'm not going to deny that. Going back to the box, Biden, allegedly the worst commander-in-chief in U.S. history. What we're asking is, if that is the case, people pissed off at the price of the fuel at the pump, pissed off with all the global conflicts going on, American money going to those conflicts, pissed off with inflation, you name it. How did he have one of the most successful fundraising evenings in U.S. history? Worst president in history raises $26 million in a single night. How does that work? Going straight to the box, because I certainly would like to hear more on that. This is 40 Plus. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. 40 Plus, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Biden, worst president in U.S. history. What say you?
Oh, not at all. Not even close.
Not even close.
I don't have all of his accomplishments in front of me, but Biden and Obama, if you think back, were also the team that brought us out of 2008 and 2009, right? And I think that's overlooked way too much, right? He came in during a pandemic, everything stacked against him. All of the news was like, we're going to go into a recession. Recession is what we heard for at least the first year of his presidency.
What are you suggesting, that somebody from Kenya knows more about American economics or something?
Apparently. apparently someone from Kenya knows better about the American economy. Like, give me a break. Like, they're just like, like, come on now. You know that Obama. I mean, like, and he, like, yeah, no, I don't believe Obama for 1 second came from Kenya.
Yeah.
And if he, you know, and if he was, like, great, he also was one of our best presidents in history. I mean, what was the one thing that he got, like, scandal for? The tan suit, right? Like the tan suit, you know, like tan.
Well, he got some scandals for some legitimate issues too. I'll say Fast and Furious, Benghazi, Solyndra. I mean, there was some legitimate stuff in there.
You know, and then them saying, like, you know, his kids are actors, and, you know, do you not see, like, the, you know, Bush kids? You didn't see the Bush kids after W was president. You didn't see, I mean, you do now because one of them's on television.
Right,
but,
right.
You know, you never, this is how the presidency works. You step, once you're done, you step aside and you try to go back to what you can of a normal life.
Do you see, now one of my viewers in the comment section suggested they're going after Obama's children and things like that as that some of that may be racial hatred. Do you see any validity to that?
I do. You know, I wish that weren't the case in our country, because, like, what an absolute, you know, glowing presidency he had, and his family, like, how well they represented us.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they always, I mean, you see pictures of them. I mean, they are always well received. They're respectful. They're well spoken. They're eloquent. Like, the Obamas were amazing, and, you know, and continue to be amazing, right? And I think it's jealousy. I think they've got to, you know, want to be dictators.
But they have Trump. He has a supermodel wife. His kids, I assume, are well spoken. They went to magnet schools and things.
Have you heard Donald? Like, he's a cokehead. Like, and that's just me being like, the guy is like, and I'm probably being more transparent than I should be, but the guy is like coked out every time you see him speaking.
Now, who are you referencing, Donald Jr. or Eric?
Donald, I guess it'd be
the dark-haired one. The dark-haired.
Yeah, the dark-haired one.
Okay, that's Donald Jr. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you see, like, but like, no, I mean, Ivanka, maybe, she showed up. Like, she always is polished, well-spoken. Like,
what do you think of Melania?
I think Melania is, like, on a, you know, she's protecting her identity right now. Like, where is Melania? Like, where is she? Like, you want to know where are Trump's kids? Where's his wife? Like, he's, like, running for president. I haven't seen her. Have you seen her?
No.
Yeah, like, you know, his own family's not supporting him.
My opinion.
Right now.
Yeah, my opinion on Melania is she never wanted this whole, I mean, she had President Trump, infinitely wealthy, you know, she could ride off into the sunset, a very wealthy woman. She never expected Trump to take on all this drama by running for president. I don't think she ever wanted to be first lady. I think that she just found out one day Trump's running, you don't have any say-so in it, but I don't think she ever wanted that.
I agree with you, and I feel bad for her, honestly. You know, like, how, I mean, it's similar to the Clintons. I felt bad for Hillary when all of the scandal came out about Bill's, you know, misbehaving. Like, Trump and, you know, paying off a porn star and Stormy Daniels. Like, how embarrassing. Like, knowing that she was pregnant with their son. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. Barron is a good-looking, tall guy. You know, like, I really only hope the best for them. And
well, Trump said he never knew Stormy. You know, that's just a money grab.
I think there's too much proof to show otherwise. I mean, and that's where, you know, like, that's sad, right? Like, that's somebody's family being impacted by someone's bad decisions, and that's never ever a good thing, no matter how much I don't like that person.
Do you believe E. Jean Carroll as well?
I do. Yeah.
Wow. So you really do see Trump as a really bad guy, then?
I have a hard time seeing the positive. You know, he's the way he talks about people, the way he, you know, puts off blame, how, you know, and now he's selling a Bible, and, you know, like, it's just, you know, like, honestly, like, if I were in his shoes, I would just go retire. You want to play golf? Go play golf. Have a good time. You've got
but the obvious counterpoint is the liberals are not going to let him retire. They're trying to put the man in jail and take all his money.
He's not helping himself, you know, and if that's their strategy, like, it's the people who are testifying against him and the people who are saying the things that he did are his own cabinet. They're his own people. They're Republicans. They're not Democrats. If it was a party line thing, why is Pence not supporting his former boss? Why, or his former running mate? It's not.
Well, the belief is that Pence, being a long-term politician and insider, was just trying to sell books and further his career on the side of Trump by bashing Trump like everybody else. That is what some folks are suggesting.
But how about Mark Meadows and everybody in his cabinet? There's nobody who's coming out and supporting him.
No, not really at all. You think he's going to survive all 88 charges?
What I think is going to happen is I think the Republicans are going to see what they've seen the last two midterms, and they're going to lose because they've lost the senator vote and they've lost the women's vote, and they're going to whine about it and say it was being stolen, and then we're going to see Trump get nailed with one of his 88, and he'll probably either be put on house arrest.
A former president on house arrest. You really think it's going to go that far?
I think that's the worst case scenario. But I wouldn't be surprised if Biden came down and said, "Hey, you know what? Like, he's an old guy like me, and he's, I'm gonna pardon him on this kind of standard. Like, these are my requirements of him. He can't be in, He's retire, have a good life, but no more participating, no more running your mouth."
So you do think if Biden wins and Trump is convicted, it's possible Biden may pardon Trump?
Well, Obama didn't try W for war crimes after we found out.
I don't know if he could have got him for that. They could probably show traces that Bin Laden was in Afghanistan and in Iraq at some point in time. I don't know if they would have gotten Bush for war crime. I get your point. Looking back, the whole damn war was a waste of time. Even Trump says it was the dumbest mistake in U.S. history. But I don't know at the time because that happens. That actually happens, folks. Because most folks believe that, at least to some degree, Bush loved this country and was trying to defend it. Just some other folks believe he was trying to make a little bit of money on the side or revenge his dad's assassination attempt as well. But I don't know if they would have got him for that.
No, I agree with you. But I'm just saying, like, an example of the Obama administration came in and they were like, "No, we are moving forward. Like, we're gonna unify. We're gonna move forward." And I could see Biden coming down and saying, "You know what? We're gonna unify. We're gonna move forward." And take that tact, because also, he's a former president. It makes us all look like jackasses, right? Yeah. And it just all across the board, it's not positive. And he's old, so I could see that happening.
All right.
But
so
if
Biden,
you think about W though, like, really quick, I was just gonna say, like, think about like the 2000 election, right? The hanging chads, Jeb being governor of Florida, all of the whole thing and how awful that seemed. And now we're sitting here, and it boggles my mind that, like, this is what's happened after, like, the Obama administration and after everything where things were going so well, and now we're like
depends on who you ask. With 40 plus, I do got to move it on.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure talking to you again there. Looking in the comment section, if you don't think Trump is getting money from the Bibles, you should look at his history selling. Oh, I certainly believe he's getting money from those Bibles. A lot of folks support Trump, want Trump to win, believe Trump is the best vision for this country. But also there are folks purchasing his items because they may one day become collector's items. I do believe he is making profits from those shoes and Bibles and things like that. So I do agree with that. But I think Trump could literally sell ice to an Eskimo. I really believe, like you said, his ability to sell is fantastic. But now when you got an audience that is so devoted, you feel comfortable saying you could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and they won't go anywhere? Yeah, that audience will buy any damn thing you got. Even murder. That is what he is stating. That is not some elaborate or some talking head. He said that. So if you believed you had folks that would follow you even if you committed an act of murder in broad daylight. I guarantee they may buy a few things that you're selling. They probably would. Looking in the comments, and Landon C64 said he did not say that. He didn't say I could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and my supporters would go nowhere. That's completely fabricated and made up. When you get some time, Landon, type it in as a search on YouTube. You'll get a visual of him saying it. Just like when the last gentleman stated that Obama or Trump never said Obama was born in Kenya, and I was able within a few seconds to show you the guy saying it. Somebody in the comments, by the way, stated that is AI. That's artificial intelligence. The video of Trump saying Obama was born in America, that's AI. All right, going back to the box. That is awesome, though, nowadays, that you can say whatever the hell you want, and when it's time to be held accountable, well, shit, that's AI. You know, I didn't marry her. That's AI. That ain't me standing across the aisle from her, kissing on her like that. Let me go back to the box. Gilbert, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. AI really gets you. I used to hear about the phrase, I was on some drunk shit. No, that's AI. That's the new excuse. Good afternoon, Gilbert. Gilbert, are you there?
Yo, you break.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's my connection or if it's your connection, but you're breaking up here.
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Okay, we'll move it on. Apparently, Gilbert doesn't have a good connection. AI wasn't even in existence when he said that. No, it was not, but they'll just say it was made yesterday, and then they pretended like it was said hundreds of years ago. So you can really do anything with AI. That is true. But no, he did say that. I mean, I knew he said it because I've used it before in a hell of a lot of conversations. Trumpsters hold no one accountable except Biden. I don't agree with that. I think they may let Trump get away with a hell of a lot of things, but they hold a lot of people accountable. Just maybe not Trump as much. Going back to the box, though, we'll go to Red Dawn Radio. Good movie. The first one with Patrick Swayze. I don't know about the second one. Red Dawn Radio. Good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going, my friend?
I'm doing good. Biden, worst president in U.S. history. What say you?
I absolutely concur. I would say more like in modern times.
Okay.
Because I believe there were some pretty bad presidents before that.
Now,
in modern times, aside from Jimmy Carter, yeah.
You think Carter was worse or Biden was worse?
I think Biden's worse because what he's doing is, well, it's not even him doing it, if you want my opinion, but the policies that are coming out of his administration are just really hurting this country bad.
Give me
the border.
Yeah, give me three policies. The border, what else?
I would say the border's the border's got to be number one because the long-term implications of what's going on is just like we don't even know what they're going to be. Okay. Not to mention,
what about the notion that they may turn into? Wait, I'll let you continue. But what about the notion? We said we don't know what they'll turn into. What about the notion they may turn into hardworking, tax-paying citizens?
And I assume a lot of them will.
Okay.
My problem is not with them personally. My problem is with the way that the border is not being administered properly.
Okay.
That's my problem.
All right.
Yeah, I'm 100% pro-immigration. I'm just pro-legal immigration. I don't believe in having Darien's Pass or Eagle Pass, which has now been closed by Texas, but you've seen the videos of them stampeding through the fences, but I don't think that that's a good look for our country. And if you look at people in New York and some of the things that have been going on there, I think people would agree.
Yeah, but I will say this. And I've heard probably 1,000 folks or more say exactly what you said. I'm not anti-immigration, just come the legal way. To me, that's like telling a burglar, I'm not a fan of you stealing a Ferrari, just go buy it the legal way. You know I can't afford a Ferrari. So coming the legal way is almost a hurdle that cannot be negotiated for probably 90+% of the immigrants coming here. Telling them to come legally is almost like telling them something that they cannot do. There's no way for most of them to even come here legally.
So I would take the comparison that you just gave, which I think was good, and I would say it's illegal to steal a Ferrari.
Yeah, it's illegal to come here. It's illegal to come here undocumented. But telling me to do it the legal way.
That's my problem.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I totally get that that's your problem. You don't want them to commit a crime, but what you're telling them to do as an alternative is impossible.
Well, I will say that this is anecdotal, and I know people go very crazy when people give anecdotal stories, but I'm married to an immigrant. I will say that the process is not easy, and it's long, and it's very costly, and I think that the next president would be good by reforming the process, first of all, making it a lot easier for people to get in the legal way. But I don't really see any excuse for this mass crime.
You just gave the excuse. It's so damn hard to come here legally that the only way they're going to get in here is by doing it criminally. That is the excuse. That's why so many people come in here illegally. It's because they cannot do it legally.
But and I know things that people have said, like when you just mentioned Trump saying the thing he said, he absolutely said that. Yeah. That's Trump. The guy says things in joking, in ways that are sarcastic.
Which part was the joke? Obama was born in America, or he was born in Kenya?
No, that's not appropriate, and I don't think that he should have engaged in that topic because that topic is just ridiculous. Yeah. I will say though that Hillary Clinton started that whole thing, so I'm not excusing Trump's partaking in it, but I think that's ridiculous. But I think the next president needs to get the situation under control. But look, here's my problem. There's a lot of people coming in here for a better opportunity. We get that, but there's people that are coming in here to do our country harm as well. And if we don't have a control over,
how do you know that though? How do you know if somebody is?
They've already caught. They've caught several people already. The most recent one that I heard of was 2 weeks ago. A member of Hezbollah coming in. He specializes in making kaboom booms, and he absolutely admitted to border control that he was coming in to use his talent.
But let me respond by saying this, because you said don't come here illegally, come here legally, so we can stop terrorists from getting in this country. You do realize all 19 hijackers from September 11th, they all came in legally. None of them came illegally. Would that really stop anything?
Well, it would definitely mitigate it. I mean, I think that...
How do you know? The worst terror attack... But how do you know it would mitigate it? The worst terror attack in U.S. history was perpetrated by legal immigrants.
Yes, and I agree. And there was also the flight instructor. So I'm in Florida, and they learn how to fly planes here in Florida. And when they told the flight instructor, I think it was Mohammed Atta, who is the leader of the group, told the flight instructor, I only want to learn how to fly it. I don't need to learn how to land it. He reported that to the FBI. The FBI dropped the ball on that.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other topic for discussion, but you're not wrong. I mean, people can come in legally and have radical intentions from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I see it as like a multifaceted issue down there. Another thing that really makes me sick really is that there's innocent people, women and children that are being exploited in the process of coming through the southern border. And that makes me sick. It's really a disgusting thing. And for a president to basically be contributing to that type of behavior by having the policy he has is really disgusting.
Okay, let me stop you because I get your point that the border's a mess. I don't totally disagree that the border's out of control, but you mentioned Biden being the worst president in U.S. history. I asked for 3 policies. We've been kind of hammering the border. What else has Biden done, in your opinion, to make him the worst president in U.S. history?
Okay, so the next thing would be getting us into the. I think one of them. This might not be so high up on the list, but the fact that he got us back into the Paris Climate Accord, which is it's a failed concept in its inception. It puts regulations on our country for production of energy, while it allows China and India to continue doing the mass pollution that they do while they produce. So it's another, hey, here's one for you guys, China. Here's one for you guys, India. But we're just going to cut back on what we do. And by the way, when we do it a lot cleaner. And we do it a lot better.
I hear you. Now, a lot of folks in the comment section are saying you need to cite the source and things like that, but you admit it. That's not very high up on the list. When you say worst president in U.S. history, give me something that's higher up on the list than the Paris Accord.
I will. I think he projects weakness. Okay, so
that's an opinion.
No, I mean, look, under Trump we had no new wars. Yes, did he use cruise missiles in Syria? Yes, he did that. It was an isolated strike, but you saw the withdrawal. So one of the things is definitely the withdrawal from Afghanistan. So the first thing that they're going to go to in the comments is going to be, oh, well, Trump negotiated with the Taliban. Okay, well,
he didn't wait a minute. He didn't negotiate with the Taliban. He handed Afghanistan over to the Taliban. He literally gave them the country back, in which they are oppressing folks just like they were before the war started.
Yes. Well, okay. And I always respect your opinion, but under what presidency was Bagram Air Force Base abandoned?
You're talking about the 13 service personnel that died that happened at the beginning of Biden's administration? Yeah, it happened under Biden administration.
The sloppy commander-in-chief.
I don't disagree with that. Withdrawal. I don't disagree with any of that, but that don't take away from what I said. Trump handed Afghanistan to the Taliban.
Well, what he was doing is he knew that, and this is why he never wanted us there in the first place. He knew that eventually they would take control. But what I'm saying is that, look, if it's inevitable, at least do it in a way where our people and the people that we promised refuge to, which were the very brave Afghanis that were interpreters and helped us out and fought side by side with our troops, at least do it in a way where we can get our people out and get them out, and it not result in not only 13 U.S. Service members.
So your point is,
also, I mean, man, the stuff that took place there. If you listen to like Tim Kennedy, Special Forces guy, he was there saving people. It was just a mess, man. People were being unalived in front of
What do you? Yeah, let me respond to that, because you know Biden bungling. Hold on, hang on. Let me respond to that. Biden bungling the evacuation. 13 service personnel. You're mentioning Tim Kennedy. A bunch of murders and mess going on over there because of Biden. What did you think was going to happen if Trump was reelected and left the country peacefully, correctly, no deaths of service personnel, but gave it back to the Taliban? Don't you think some murders are still going to be happening in Afghanistan no matter what? You're handing it to the Taliban.
For sure. No, yeah, look, but that's one thing. But
let's just
see what I think about Afghanistan. No, you're right. You're right. That's going to happen.
All right.
The way that we were going to avoid that was going to be getting the people that were target number one for Taliban, which was what they call, traitors for working with the American soldiers, to get those people out, so that at least those people and their families were not just going to be thrown into a chopping block.
Why didn't Trump do that? Why didn't he do it during his term?
As the transfer of power was taking place, he pretty much had his agreement in place with the leader of the Taliban, which he told him, if you've listened to what Trump said about it, if one of our service members has a hair touched on them, well, I'm going to hit you harder than you've ever been hit. And then he showed the head of the Taliban a picture of his house. Why are you showing me the picture of the house? You're a smart guy, man. Figure it out. Yeah, basically letting him know that if anything happens,
I've heard that story. So do you favor that, what Trump did with the Taliban, over George W. Bush saying America doesn't negotiate with terrorists? It sounds like Trump, while making threats, was actually negotiating with terrorists. You think that's a better way than what George W. Bush was doing?
No, I think what George W. Bush did is the whole reason why we're in this place that we're in right now.
Okay.
And look, as I'm not a Republican, I did vote for Trump 2 times. I'm going to vote for him again. but I don't believe in the political party thing. Anyway, side note. Look, what I believe is that the leadership that called for Bagram Air Force Base, which was our stronghold in that country. This is an Air Force base where we would have been able to evacuate people a lot more securely, right? We could have multiple layers of security around the Air Force Base. It's an Air Force Base, for God's sakes. Instead of having to go through Mohammed Karzai International Airport in Kabul, right? In the fashion of, so Biden is the one that withdrew everybody from Bagram Air Force Base. He set in motion the events that led to what was inevitably.
And he gets to blame for that. I'm not disagreeing. He gets to blame. It happened under his watch. I'm not trying to defend Biden. The 13 service personnel that were lost was due to a botched evacuation. Happened under Biden's watch. He gets credit for that. I do got to move it on to Red Don.
You don't have to write the book Art of War by Sun Tzu to know that he did something really stupid when he did that. When he left Bagram Air Force Base, that was it.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, I don't absolve Biden for blaming what happened. I mean, it happened under his watch. Liberals would be blaming Trump if it happened under his watch. Red Don, appreciate you coming on. Looking in the comment, I will say this though. If Biden had got us out of Afghanistan without any casualties at all and did it the right way, he still is empowering the Taliban by following up on Trump's negotiation, and Biden would get blamed for that. Under Trump's negotiation, the Taliban has essentially become a more powerful entity. They got a whole damn country back. I don't know how the loss of 13 service personnel under Biden's administration takes precedence over empowering the Taliban, giving them a whole country back. I don't know how that works. I understand a hell of a lot of folks have a different opinion than yours truly. You're entitled to that. You know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. But you gave a nation back to the Taliban, and they went right back into oppressing their citizens, women, all of that. 13 service personnel is awful under the Biden administration. But literally negotiating with our enemies, which is the Taliban, and giving them a nation back doesn't deserve any conversation at all. I'm clueless on that. I will admit, that doesn't make sense to me. That was the primary enemy of America the whole time we were in Afghanistan. Why negotiate with them and give them a country back at the end of it? I don't understand how that's viewed as a positive. And that obviously happened with Trump. Looking in the comments, Biden versus RFK. If Trump didn't run, who would you pick? Biden versus... Let me just say, and before I go back to the box, the problem with RFK is if you put 10,000 Democrats in a room, town hall style, ask them what are the primary issues they're concerned with about this country, RFK is not talking about any of them. Whether you think Biden is sane or completely out of his mind, at least he is talking about what Democrats are concerned with. RFK is not talking about any primary issue that Democrats believe is a major concern. So having said that, I don't think many Democrats are going to vote for RFK. What is his opinion on a women's right to choose? Does he favor, any type of gun control, or do he believe shall not be infringed upon? How does he believe, how does he feel about tuition loan forgiveness or universal health care? He don't talk about none of that stuff. So I don't understand why, other than just hatred towards maybe Biden and Trump, and you're just voting for somebody else, that could happen. But voting for RFK because he talks about the issues that you're most concerned with, said no Democrat ever. I don't see it. I just don't. He's not speaking about anything the left cares about. Looking in the comments, Trump was the one who negotiated the Taliban taking over Afghanistan. Biden, we had to honor Trump's negotiation. Actually, Diasas, while that is true, Trump proved you don't have to honor the negotiation. We negotiated the Iran deal under Obama. Trump came in and said, screw that. It was a bad deal. We're not going to do it. To some degree, Biden could have did the same thing with the Taliban. So we didn't have to honor it. But I do agree with your statement in part. And I wasn't a fan and I'm mainly talking to my beloved MAGA before we go back to the box. I was not a fan of Trump getting out of the Iran deal. Not stating that it was some kind of fantastic deal. I'm going at it from the angle of, if you give your word, you honor your word. If America gets into a deal with a foreign country, that is our word. If our word is only as good as who is in the White House, why would anybody make a deal with us? I believe President Trump getting out of the Iran deal, which a lot of folks on the right believe it was a terrible deal to begin with. I get that. But by breaking that deal, you ruined, talking about President Trump, ruined America's integrity on the world stage. Why would you make a deal with Biden or Trump or any president in America when the next president can come along and say it was a bad deal, I'm breaking it? If that's all it takes, who the hell would get into a deal with America? So I believe what President Trump did was an awful blow to our integrity, even if the Iran deal was bad, in his belief. Find a different way to get Iran to come to the table or get what you want, but you don't break your word. As many would suggest, your word is all you got. Trump comes along, all of a sudden he's breaking NAFTA. My last guest talked about the Paris Accord. You're wanting to get out of NATO. Is America a country that you should no longer trust? To me, that with Trump doing that, it would lead me to ask that if I was an ally looking to make deals with the United States. I would certainly ask every president after Trump, how do I know you're not going to do what he did? How do I know if we sit here and sign or shake hands on this, you're not going to do what that guy did? How do I know the next guy is not going to think what you and I agree on is not stupid and just break it? It's an integrity play. Going back to the box, everything Trump touches turns to shit, says Peter 6000. I don't know about that, but damn. Everything Trump touches turns to shit. Jesus. Going back to the box, Gilbert. Good afternoon, Gilbert. Donald Trump inevitably wins in 2024. Didn't he inevitably win in 2020? Gilbert, good afternoon. Hey, loud and clear.
Okay, so yeah, back to what you're saying. They also got to remember when Biden took office, he had no leverage to renegotiate.
What do you mean?
He still got an extension.
What do you mean?
With the Taliban, with the Afghan withdrawal?
He did have leverage. He got our military was still there.
But he was actually withdrawn, and then the attack actually happened after he got an extension.
Okay, so are you saying that the loss of those service personnel during that botched evacuation was not Biden's fault?
Not totally. I mean, I think he could have been. I'm saying that we could have stayed and retaliated, but he figured it was time to get out.
I'm not talking about retaliation. Hold on, hang on. I'm not talking about retaliating. I'm talking about preventing it from happening.
There really wasn't much he could do to prevent it from happening. We already abided by our part of the agreement, and they abided by theirs.
You're telling me the United States could not have put enough boots on the ground, enough aircraft in the air to evacuate with no one being hurt? You're telling me there was no way to do that?
He could have, but he would have been breaking the agreement.
How is he breaking the agreement if we're leaving?
If he was to put more troops back in there, that's breaking the agreement. We were supposed to be withdrawing troops, not bringing troops back in.
Well, if you tell them we're going to evacuate as stated, but we need to put in a larger security force to make sure our evacuation is effective, what can they say? If we're leaving tonight, we're leaving tonight. Okay, there's going to be 50,000 showing up this afternoon to make it safe. If you don't like it, come do something about it. What can they really say?
No, I agree with you. He could have done that.
Yeah.
He chose not to. He figured it would be safer not to do that.
And was he right?
What's that?
You said he chose not to.
Well, I said I'm not. Right, he chose not to do it that way because he felt it was safer.
Okay, was he correct in feeling it was safe? You got a major delay, Gilbert.
I'm not saying it was correct, okay? I'm not saying Biden was correct, okay? I think it was a mistake.
That's the point. If he made a mistake, then it's his fault.
Right. I'm not saying he has no fault with it.
Okay.
I'm not saying he has no fault with it.
You just did.
Okay? What I'm saying is that with it, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Unfortunately, Gilbert, I'm going to have to move it because you got a major delay or something that's making it hard to communicate.
I'm not saying he has no fault, okay?
So what's your point?
What I'm saying.
So what's your point?
What I'm saying is that Afghan withdrawal could be an indirect result of what's going on with Ukraine.
How so?
Because Russia seeing that we didn't stand up to the Afghan, so now they decide that they're going to invade Ukraine.
You're saying that
Biden showed weakness by not standing up to the Afghan.
So what was Biden supposed to do?
You think? I think that if we were still up to Afghanistan, whether we brought troops in, whether we retaliated after the 13 soldiers, I think that would have been a sign to Putin that, look, we are not going to be bullied.
Okay. Do you think if Putin could go back in history to when Biden took office, do you think that he believes the 2 years he's been fighting with the Ukraine, do you think he's happy with the results under a weak leader like Biden?
Yeah, I do think he's happy with the results. Because look, we're not saying nobody into Ukraine. We're not saying troops in Ukraine. We're getting aid, yes.
So you believe that Putin?
We don't have troops in Ukraine.
So you believe that Putin, when he invaded the Ukraine 2 years ago, he expected this war to still be going on 2 years later?
No, I don't think he expected it to be going on because like I said, we're still giving aid to Ukraine.
Then why would he? If he
can't send no troops in because they said if he said. Okay, let me finish, okay? Don't interrupt me when I'm trying to talk, okay? What did Putin say? Putin's like threatening us with nukes. Okay, well, we have nukes too.
I don't. Here's the point of it.
Send troops threatening us with nukes.
Here's where you're losing me. You're saying that Putin did not expect to be still fighting this war 2 years later, but he's happy with it. If Biden was a weak leader, shouldn't this have been over in the span of about 6 months?
I agree. It should have been over with, but it's not over with because we're afraid to send troops in because we're afraid of nuclear war. Look, nobody wants the nuclear war. I agree. Nobody wants the nuclear war. Do you think we want the Afghan withdrawal in the way it did? No.
Okay. Unfortunately, I do got to move it. Okay.
Either way, we got flat.
All right, Gilbert, I do got to move it on because we got a delay and it makes it hard to communicate, but you're certainly welcome back to the program. I don't know why the delay was so bad, but guys, you know I don't block, ban, or censor anyway. Me and the last guest have a difference of opinion on this. My opinion is if Putin saw President Biden as a much weaker leader than Trump and decided now's the time to act, but the war has been going on months, if not a year or two longer than he expected, then it's obvious Putin was wrong in his judgment of Biden, and Biden is not as weak as Putin thought. He didn't see Biden as somebody who would help the Ukraine continue fighting them throughout his entire administration. I don't see how Biden is being viewed as a weak leader when the Ukraine, with the assistance of President Biden, has put up a hell of a fight that Russia clearly never expected. That's not what, if Biden is weak, this shit should have been over with within 6 months. That's what a weak leader would allow to happen. That's not what has happened. We're still helping the Ukraine, and the only thing that Putin can look forward to is if the Republicans tie Biden's hands behind his back. Because if this weak leader, referring to President Biden, is allowed to do what he wants, Russia may never beat the Ukraine. I don't see how that makes Biden look weak. It just doesn't make sense logically that the man is fighting a small country like the Ukraine for 2+ years and somehow Biden is weak. That doesn't make sense. Looking in the box or in the comment section, if Trump was in office, he would have surrendered Ukraine to Putin. It does seem like that is valid. Either Trump would have been able to convince Putin not to go into the Ukraine and a war would never have happened, or if it did happen, Trump would not have aided the Ukraine at all and Putin would have conquered him. Those are the only two choices I believe exist under a Trump presidency. I don't think he has any love for the Ukraine at all, and he's spoken so favorably of Putin that is almost like he seems to view Russia as a member of NATO. So yeah, I do agree that there's validity to that. It's good to see another black Trump supporter, says Cass Springer. Hopefully you guys are having fun over there. I know who you're looking at in your house there, but hopefully you're having fun. Going back to the box, stick the ruler. Tap the screen, by the way. I haven't solicited that. Get your guy on up to around 50,000 likes. We got 900 plus a yen here. So get your boy likes up to around 50,000 for my YouTube viewers. Smash that like button. Certainly a subscription or a follow, depending on what platform you're on. YouTube, feel free to follow the program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. That's how the program is always ran. Stick the ruler. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's going on, Hazel?
Not much at all. Biden, worst president in U.S. history. What say you?
No, I definitely would put him, it's only been, 46 of them, right?
Yeah.
So I would put him at top 10.
Wow. Biden, one of the top 10 presidents in U.S. history.
I can give him top 10.
Where's Trump at?
I would being honest, I would give Trump top 25.
Okay, so they both have been fairly effective.
Well, I ain't gonna say they both have been fairly effective, but what I will say is that Biden has helped everybody, and Trump has helped a certain class of people. So they both help people, but one has helped everybody, and the other one has helped a certain class of people. So, just like you said with the Roe v. Wade, if you're a Republican, you like it.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I'm not, but I'll tell you this. Yeah, that's just being fair. That's just what it is. Top 25 and Biden top 10.
Okay, well, when you said Biden is in the top 10, the champ round 8 said, this is why you don't smoke. He said top 10. So he suggested you over there smoking some ganja or something like that. Why would you put Biden so high?
I would put Biden so high because of basically what he inherited. I would actually do Obama the same way. I put him top 10, maybe even top 5. You get what I'm saying? And that's probably a little bias on my end, but hey, it is what it is. When you pull a whole country out of a depression or some type of big...
well, wait a minute, though. If you're talking about what Biden inherited, I'm assuming you're talking about the pandemic?
No, I'm assuming that you're talking about the economy that was affected by the pandemic.
How do you think Trump handled the pandemic?
I think when it comes down to people or money, I think he was a money person. I don't think he really cared about how many people didn't have the same care that he had. As long as he was okay, everybody just do what you do. To me, that's what I got from how he 1 minute do it, next minute don't do it. I approve it. The next minute, no, I never really said that. So he played both sides because when the vid hit and then You got the little bumper. You know what I mean? It started working. He wanted to take the accolade for it.
But let me ask you, because you're giving the guy top 25. William, thank you for the hat and mustache. Appreciate that. You're giving Trump top 25 while saying he didn't handle the pandemic in the best of manner. Like, some folks are blaming Trump for pandemic deaths. Do you blame him for the death toll at all?
Well, yeah. I mean, on my own videos, I said I couldn't forgive him for that.
So how does he get top 25 then?
He only gets top 25 because he did help some people. You see what I'm saying? Like,
every president let's take the rule. Every president in history helps some people.
Well, so my whole point of it is, you could just say top 25 most memorable.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, Hitler is a top 25 most memorable. That could be anybody.
but what I'm saying is, you know, I don't like really giving him any credit. But the only credit I'll give him is his little tax. You know what I mean? He helped his homies. And that's how I see it. And then some of them ain't his homies because they're actually big giants. But because of the position that he had, being a little giant, he took advantage. And he can boast and brag that, hey, none of y'all would really have as much money as you have if it wasn't for me. Because I gave y'all those tax cuts and I made it permanent. So that's a big thing, you know. And then on top of that, you got those guys that want to tell their wives what to do and what not to do. And then again, he brought Roe v. Wade. So
wait. You said guys who want to tell their wives what to do and what not to do. Is you saying Trump is anti-woman?
Man, he's anti a lot of stuff. He's anti-broke. He's anti-middle class. He's anti-upper class. He wants to be a billionaire so damn bad. He's anti-millionaire.
What do you say? He's like Bruno Mars. I want to be a millionaire so bad. Wait a minute. So whoever. Now that ain't Bruno Mars. That's a different group. But at the end of the day, if you is anti, I don't see where the top 25 come. Let's say if Trump gets reelected, would America really be that bad?
Listen, I gotta give MAGA the top. I didn't say he was like the 24th. He is the 25th. He's top 25. He is the 25th, the last one on the list. Only because I'm giving him credit that he helped his so-called people out when it comes down to the tax cuts. Okay. When it comes down to tax cuts, for instance, if I was a billionaire, I would understand why some people vote for Trump, but I'm not. So, again, I'm on the left side, but just giving credit and being honest, I understand. I'm starting to understand MAGA more and more every day. That doesn't mean I agree with them. It's just that I understand. You don't care about people. You care about your damn pocket. You care about eggs. You care about gas. You care about...
Well, but most people care about the economy, though, Stick. Everybody cares about the economy.
But if you really cared about it, you'll be paying attention to it and you'll be understanding that it's really not so bad. Just stop giving Trump your money. That's the point.
You sure you don't want a Bible? You sure you don't want a Bible for the low price of $59.99?
You know, I was just telling somebody I have never paid for a Bible. Never. I've never paid for a Bible. My church provided us with Bibles. Now, if you want a custom-made leatherback, that's different.
Right.
But if you want a regular, smuggler King James Bible, or if you want a regular, smuggler international version Bible, it didn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
As you leaving the church, your pastor or assistant pastor or the deacon or somebody in the church always make sure that you have a Bible. And then when you come into church, also behind the pew, when you're facing forward, behind the pew in front of you, there's a Bible rack with tons of Bibles that you can read, that you can actually say, hey, I don't have a Bible. Can I take it? And the preacher should say yes.
I agree. I've never heard anybody paying for a Bible either. Hell, I just go take one out the hotel if I really need one. But yeah, I've never heard of that either. But this Bible does have a nice portrait of Trump on the front of it, if I'm correct. Is it something like Jesus is kneeling to Trump or something? I forgot what's on the front of it. But
hold on. And how did you put that together? You said how does nice and picture of Trump go together, man? Come on, stop it.
Come on now, Trump ain't a bad looking guy. He can't be a
What was the picture of him with a Bible before?
Well, the other one was upside down.
Yeah, see? And that's how it started.
All right, you said that you got a call. I'm moving on, Stick. Appreciate you coming in.
All right, bro.
You too.
Yep.
All right, moving the program on. They only care about white privilege. Yikes, says Rodney Harris. I'm hearing that white privilege doesn't exist. I've heard a lot of white folks say that if white privilege exists, give me my white privilege card. I mean, a lot of folks say it doesn't exist. So what do you mean when you say white privilege? I don't agree with selling the Bible, but there are retail stores that sell Bibles and things. That is true. You can purchase the Bible on Amazon and things like that. But yeah, for $59.99, that's got to probably be one of the most expensive Bibles you can get your hands on. Just like his shoes. And I've brought that up before, that if the economy, the price of goods and services, and everything under Biden is too damn high, and Trump is the guy we're going to re-elect to get the price of everything back down to affordable range, why wouldn't he set an example by starting out by lowering the price of his own stuff? The stuff that he himself is selling is unaffordable. Yet he's the guy that's going to bring down the price of goods and services for everybody else. I don't see how he's leading by example. Naeem Barber, certainly a friend of the program. Thank you for the super chat on YouTube. Says, I'm going to be honest. As a black man, I can't put no president before 1964 outside of Lincoln, Wilson, JFK, and FDR in my top 10. That makes perfect sense. I can't put any president before the Civil Rights Act in my top 10 if I'm a black man. Just simply knowing history, you would totally understand what he's saying and why he is saying it. Going back to the box, thank you, Naeem Barber. Appreciate the super chat. Trump is a poor businessman. I don't think his bank account validates that. I think Trump is a good businessman. The fact that Trump can sell you a damn Bible, which is given free, and make hundreds of thousands, if not millions. He's going to make a lot of money off that Bible. They make it clear. The fact that the man can sell you an item that you can get for free, as my last guest stated, anywhere you go, shows that he is a great businessman. I don't disagree that there are things to criticize about the former president, but I do totally disagree that he's not a good businessman. That guy has selling skills that are out of this world. I've said it before at the beginning of the program. Somebody pulled next to me with a loud-ass car. But I do agree that guy could literally sell ice to igloos. So I totally disagree that he's not a good salesman. Going back to the box, said he can't sell nothing. Yeah, okay. All right. Salesmen and businessmen are totally different things. Call it what you want. We're talking about making money. That is all we're talking about. At the end of the day, we're talking about making money. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with roadless mindset. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Roadless Mindset. Biden, worst president in history, roadless? What say you?
Nope. I say no because of the fact that people don't really understand we have checks and balances. He came into a Republican Senate and a Republican Congress.
Okay.
That have blocked him all the way. He's had immigration bills and stuff to where they have blocked him. Some of the Democrats have put in an anti-oil gouging bill, and they threw that away. So,
But that's normal though. But that's no any president, because some folks say they never gave Trump a chance from day one. You can't expect to run without opposition, can you?
Yeah, but if I'm the only, like, if I'm an apartment owner, or not apartment owner, but my name is on the lease, and I have two roommates that aren't on the lease, and they mess up the whole place and stuff like that, and the owner comes in, he's going to blame me. He's not going to blame those other two people because they messed up the place. He's going to blame me. And that's where Biden is getting like, oh, he is the one that is in charge of everything. But actually, he's not. They're all three supposed to be checks and balances. But when you're going into a place with two people opposing you and you're the only one trying to do stuff, of course it's going to be hard.
Yeah, but what about his power in terms of executive action? Like, for instance, the border. The beginning of Biden's term, when folks were screaming out the border was out of control, President Biden, Kamala Harris was saying there was no major issue at the border. How do you think Biden has done in regards to our southern border?
I think he's done okay because of the fact that when he first came in, he had a border bill ready and going. The Republicans blocked that border bill, and then they said, "Oh no, that's not the case," and stuff. And it's kind of like now we have a huge border bill that'll put fentanyl machines to track what how much fentanyl comes into the United States, but the Republicans blocked it, and they said that they're bowing to their leader Trump, which says, "Oh, okay, then we'll block that border bill." I think he's just getting a bad rap for what the Republicans are doing.
So at the end of the day, you believe Biden has been an effective president, a pretty good president?
Yes.
What did you think of Trump?
I think Trump, he couldn't first sell a wall to Mexico. and then when that happened, he threw a big fit and made us pay for the wall and said, "Oh, if we don't pay for the wall, then I'm going to shut down the government." And what did he do? He shut down the government.
So
we're a joke to everybody because have you seen a big Biden baby in diapers crying in any of the places that he's gone?
But you know the crazy thing, and I know that the London baby, when Trump went to London, they had this big blimp of him in a diaper. But a lot of folks on the right, particularly MAGA, suggest that it is Biden that the world laughs at. You're saying it's the opposite.
Oh yeah, I know it's the opposite. Because when I've gone to Europe, they've kind of made fun of me because of being an American when Trump was president.
But it's interesting. It's interesting you would say that because in the comments, Ranruck says I go to Europe all the time and they love Trump. So he's saying just the opposite, that European nations, they love Trump as opposed to Biden.
I don't see it that way.
And I gotta echo what you're saying, because if Trump is suggesting that we get out of NATO or getting in fights with Angela Merkel and things, unless it's Eastern Europe, it doesn't make sense that the Western European nations would favor Trump over Biden. That doesn't. Certainly when you're speaking favorably of Putin or the leader of Hungary, yeah, like I said, unless it's Eastern Europe, it doesn't make sense that Europe would favor Trump over Biden.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. And it's kind of like the people that I've talked to, they're just they feel sorry for the U.S. when I mentioned that I'm there.
Wow. Now, in the comments, Jingo also follows up by saying, I'm in Europe and everyone here loves Trump. I'd be curious for you folks that are I didn't know I had too many European viewers, but what country, because obviously Europe is a very big area about the same size as the U.S., Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Slavic countries? Are you up in the fjords up there near Norway and Finland? Where in Europe are you suggesting you're located where all the love for Trump exists and, folks believe Biden is so weak? I'd be curious to see that. So, Roland, so at the end of the day, what would be so bad if Trump got reelected? I mean, you obviously favor Biden, but if you get Trump in there, I mean, folks suggest the economy was better under Trump, things like that. Do you think it would really be that bad if he got reelected?
Yes, I would.
Why?
People don't mention also that he started the trade war with China, maybe because of the fact that China made them pay taxes. But in our agricultural department in 2017, we were exporting $10.6 billion to China in the agricultural department. The next year, when the trade war came, we were exporting $9.2 billion to China. And to correct that problem, we gave the farmers $20 billion. And that's already losing $30 billion. So he's not a good businessman. He'll send us more in debt.
Yeah. Well, folks look at how much they paid with gas prices. They look at, folks are saying, like you say, that Biden was not a good, or better yet, Trump was not a good business person. But a lot of folks favor the Trump economy over Biden's. I mean, even right now, most Americans believe that the economy is one of Biden's weak points.
Well, where I live in the Permian Basin, it's one of the bad points because he put a lot of American oil jobs out of business because of the fact that in October of 2017, our oil prices were $76 a barrel.
Whoa.
Then when he made the deal with OPEC and Russia to flood our market with cheap oil, our oil prices went down to $50 a barrel the next month and kept on going down. So when you have an oil company that loses $20 per barrel, what happens?
Yeah.
People lose their jobs.
Well,
there were so many jobs lost in this area, and it's not just oil jobs, but we had a flood of jobs. You lost construction jobs. Costco was supposed to come here. They lost Costco. We just lost so many jobs that driving down the street, half of the houses were for sale or foreclosed on.
Wow. All right. Okay, then I think you've made your point there. I think you've made your point pretty clear. All right, Rollins, I do got to move it on. Appreciate this. Our first time talking.
Yep. Well,
good.
I think I talked unto you under a different name.
All right. Fair enough. Well, good
time talking under trust.
All right, fair enough. Good to have you on. Come on back through anytime, man. Real quick, both Big Bird, thank you, and DJ Julio for the hat and mustache. Yeah, Big Bird with that underwater contribution. Certainly that did not go unnoticed. I wanted to hear the continuation of my last guest, so I didn't speak on it. But thank you, Big Bird, always kind to the program. Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you. Real quick in the comments, wow, Big Bird, once again, Big Bird, thank you. Real quick in the comments, I made $45,000 when Trump was president. Now I make $120,000. Pepe, rolling in the deep like Adele. Wow. So you're suggesting that your salary damn near tripled from Trump to Biden. Sounds like good times at the Pepe household, but that is certainly, I don't believe that's something you can attribute to Biden. You either switched industries, got an education, got promoted, or something like that. I mean, Trump, Biden, the economies, whether you love one or hate the other or vice versa, I don't think anything Biden or Trump did to the economy was so, enormous that somebody's salary should triple. I don't know about that one. Even if you believe, and I'm talking to my beloved MAGA, even if you believe that Biden ruin the economy, because a lot of folks believe that Biden ruined the economy. Your salary shouldn't cut down by a third. I don't think the two presidents have that much disagreement. I don't think that Biden has ruined the economy or Trump was that great for the, because you go from Obama to Trump. I don't believe many Obama supporters who believe Obama sucked. Many Trump supporters believe Obama sucked. Your salary didn't triple under Trump. I don't believe. But congratulations to you, Pepe. Name Barb in Hungary 3 years ago. And it reminded me of the crack epidemic. Wow. Only affected the suburbs except Budapest, and I cannot pronounce the other area. I don't know hardly anything about Eastern Europe. You're talking about Poland and Hungary. I know that Poland is in favor of us assisting the Ukraine, and I'm going to assume Hungary will be on the other side. But other than that, I can't speak on that. But appreciate that name, Barbara. Thank you for the super chat. Looking in the comments, Biden boomed the economy. Biden boomed the economy. Trump lost lives and played golf. Sean Ackerman, you summed that up in one quick sentence. DJ Julio, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Biden, worst president in U.S. history. That is a strong condemnation. DJ Julio, good afternoon.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm actually saying that because Trump stated that, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before, that Biden is the worst president in U.S. history. Do you think he's telling the truth with that?
I don't think he's the worst president ever. I don't think he's a president.
What do you mean?
I mean, really, what has he done that's so great that wasn't already in line for him? I don't know. I don't think he's the worst ever. I'm sure we've had somebody worse. I've only been alive for 45 years, so.
But you said you don't. You said you don't think he is the president. Are you saying that he's not in control of the country?
No, Obama's running the country.
Right now, Obama's our commander in chief.
Well, I don't think he's our commander in chief, but he's behind Joe Biden for sure.
What makes you say that?
The video that he put out, that if there was a way that I could have a third term, I would do it, no matter what it was.
So when Trump put a video out suggesting that he will be a dictator on day one, you believe that too?
100%, because he's going to shut down the border. He's going to have to dictate to do that.
You do know a dictator is going to do a hell of a lot more than just secure the border, right?
No, that's all he. That's the context of what he was saying, Tim.
Yeah, when Sean Hannity realized what he said was inflammatory, Sean Hannity tried to rein him in, and then he started talking about the border. But he couldn't even get Trump to steer away from the dictator comment. So I agree that he went to the border, but that was when Sean Hannity was trying to let him know, you don't want to say this.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some other things that he's going to do. Do I think it's going to be the dictator that we're used to seeing overseas? No, I don't think it's going to be that kind of a dictator.
Okay.
I think he's going to be. I'm done with a lot of the stuff the government does. I'm done with the overtaxation. I'm done with a lot of those things.
Yeah, but if you cut taxation,
then we quit feeding the overseas people. That's it.
So
we take care of our own.
When you say quit feed, well, we don't have any history of doing that. I bring that up all the time there, DJ, is that we keep talking about bringing money home and not taking care of overseas issues. We don't have a history in this country of taking care of our own. I mean, how many folks in this country believe that if you give food stamps to a mother, she's going to use that as an excuse to stop looking for a job? I mean, there is no evidence that we are interested in taking care of the downtrodden in this country.
We don't have a history of it, but how amazing would it be if our history started in November or this next January? How amazing would it be if we just quit trying to beat the man up and let him do his job for 4 years? What if he did that? What if he was the first president in our history, first person in our history to make sure our people were taken care of first? And I want to respond to JW Grey Wolf. Yes, I am an enrolled native in the Sioux tribe here in South Dakota. I'm also Mexican and I am white. I am afraid of nobody, buddy.
Okay. So in regards to your statement, what if Trump was allowed to do his job and became the first president in history to actually look out for the downtrodden? I like that statement, but I would respond by saying, it would be awesome if he would come out during some of these rallies and say that's his intentions. He's not even talking about looking out for homeless people or folks that's struggling. I've went to Trump rallies. All these banging liberals, he's against what you're talking about, sending money to the Ukraine and helping other folks and securing the border, but he's not even talking about looking out for the downtrodden in this country.
No, I mean, but honestly, Tim, has he had a chance?
Yes, he's had plenty of chances.
Without having to first defend himself, without having to first say, this is crap.
Every time he called Nikki Haley a bird brain was a chance for him to do that.
Yeah, but it got him to where he is right now.
That ain't the goal. The goal is to say what you're talking about, not to insult people to get where you're going.
Now he's a candidate, so now he can focus on his candidacy. And I think we're going to see that come June, July.
So if he's going to focus on his candidacy, why the hell is he still talking about, January 6th, hostages, having folks stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance to January 6th hostages? That's a time when he could be talking about looking out for the downtrodden.
Someone in his administration, or not his administration, in his campaign structure, someone is writing a lot of this for him. And yes, he goes willy-nilly a lot of the times, and that's probably the times he goes willy-nilly is because he feels those statements are important. It is important to me. It's important to me to know that there was more than just Republicans running into the White House. It's important to me to know that there was possibly other factions, whether it be Antifa, BLM, any of those that are trying to make him look bad on his day, whether it was a transfer of power to Joe Biden. Trump made it about himself.
So which one, you mentioned it's important to know what happened on January 6th. Which one is more important? To talk about helping out the downtrodden in this country, or to clarify what took place on January 6th? Because I'm hearing more about January 6th. Which one is more important in your opinion?
I think right now in the stage that he's at, it's still important to be talking about that. I think come this summer, it's time to start really putting his foot down as far as it comes, with his candidacy, with his campaign.
So if he doesn't start talking about helping out the downtrodden, the homeless, folks who are really struggling financially, if he doesn't start talking about it by this summer, is it possible that you may jump off the Trump train?
Aside from him doing something super immoral in this moment of life,
what is your
right now? I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
I'm talking about from today forward.
All right. Okay.
Because I don't care about yesterday.
All
I don't
right.
care about yesterday. Tim, you have a past. I have a past.
Yeah.
If people judged me on my past, I wouldn't have my own business right now.
Okay. Well, to me, what you're saying when you said super moral, and you I'm talking about today, not yesterday. That's like telling your wife, I didn't cheat this week. I didn't cheat on you this week. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to give you something that I don't give anybody because I want some validity to who I am.
All right.
I've been with my wife 25 years.
Okay. You didn't cheat on her this week.
I've cheated on my wife 7 different times throughout our marriage.
Okay.
We've talked about those things. I gave her the option. I said, look, I was in a bad place. I was a dirtbag. You have every right to leave me, but before you do, I'm coming clean with everything. So I spent an hour telling my wife how big of a piece of shit I was. And that was 13 years ago.
Well, it worked. You came out and told her I hit somebody 7 different people, I hate to go into your business, but we're talking about different people or the same chick?
Different people, but
damn.
I was a dirtbag. Okay. I was a dirtbag.
All right.
I'm okay knowing I was a dirtbag. Because when I look at the man in the mirror today, I'm proud of who I've become. I'm proud of the things that I've learned. I'm proud of the things I've experienced.
Well, I will say this. Somebody in the comments said all validity is shot. I will say this. I don't think anybody would make up what you just said. So I do believe you're telling the truth about that. I don't think anybody's going to make that shit up.
No, find me on Instagram. You can find my wife. Go ask her your damn self. She'll tell you, yeah, he was a dirtbag. He's a good dude now, though.
Okay. All right, Julio. I wasn't expecting that type of a confession. I don't know if we agree politically, but
because I want you to understand that I'm coming from the heart every time we talk.
Yeah. I do believe that. All right, Julio. We disagree politically, but you know how it is. You're always welcome back, man. Good talk.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, anytime. Looking in the comments, Democrats have spent decades telling people that Republicans are racist, but as soon as you switch over to Republican, the Democrats call you an Uncle Tom, while the Republicans welcome you with open arms, says the Quiet Kids Backpack. I do believe there is some validity to throwing around the racist word. We talk about this all the time, that if you are on the right and you debate with folks on the left, inevitably somebody's going to call you a racist, because a lot of folks on the Democratic side of the aisle throw around the racist word to demonize folks. But, I always have a counterpoint. And that is, if you are on the left side of the aisle and you debate with somebody on the right, eventually someone is going to call you a socialist. Because the right throws around the word socialism the same way many on the left throw around the word racism to demonize people. Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, they're all socialists. Every Democrat in existence is a socialist. Same thing with the racism comment. So what I often state is that this is how we meet in the middle when you don't just throw around names. You can't blame somebody for calling you a racist when you're constantly calling them a socialist, or vice versa, The right absolutely throws around the word socialism at every damn body. So I do agree that using these words to demonize folks is wrong. Not to say there is not some true racists or socialists in existence in this country, but calling everybody that represents your opposition these names, I'm not a big fan of. It's not calling them a racist, calling them a racist slur. Define it how you want. I'm just simply saying, accusing people of socialism and racism just as a term to demonize. I'm not. Right now, what's really you want to talk about racism on the side of the right? What I don't like as well, because I believe this term can get folks really hurt, calling everybody pedophiles. I'm not a big fan of that. Calling everyone some way, fashion, or form as being harmful to children. LGBT community. I don't want them going in the bathroom because they're going to all of a sudden start abusing kids. They're shoving their lifestyle down the throat of children. I don't want children learning CRT. It's always about hurting children. That's happening a lot on the right. You talk about using racism to demonize folks. Using the notion that everybody is trying to hurt children. How many times has Biden himself been referred to as hurting children? Or Pizzagate with Hillary Clinton, drinking the blood of infants? Everybody is out to hurt children. That, to me, is just as bad as calling everybody a racist. It's suggesting that every damn body on the left is somehow trying to hurt people's kids. That's just flat out false. Just flat out false. The liberal party is just a whole bunch of pedos. I do not like that. I do not like that. And just yours truly. Maybe some of you folks disagree. Looking in the comments though, that's hearsay, not facts. All of this shit is hearsay. That's how it works. But hearsay can grow legs, such as they're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers. I assume some of them are good people. That's a quote. That's hearsay. He doesn't have access to everybody coming across the border. That's hearsay. But there's a whole lot of people that believe it. Millions of people. Looking in the comments, that's a better comparison to racist. Well, all right. If it's false, why the Liberal Party all for killing babies? Look, we can debate back and forth. If a woman has an abortion at 3 months, is that an actual baby? On the right, you believe it is. On the left, they don't. So, I'm not going to go into that too deep, but if you're pro-choice, you're pro-choice. If you're pro-life, you are indeed pro-life. Going back to the box, Country Hound Dog, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Country Hound Dog, good afternoon.
How's it going, Hansel? It's been a while.
It's been a little bit. Biden being the worst president in U.S. history. What say you?
I'm going to give you two things and these are current events going on.
Okay.
That make me say this. One, we had the lowest number of border crossings under Trump. That was a train that he rode coming off of Obama. because Obama started the reduction in border crossings.
They didn't give him credit for it.
Well, I mean, I'm giving Obama credit. He started the reduction in border crossings.
All right.
And Trump rode that train. Okay?
Okay.
So it was almost nothing. Now, then Biden come in and bam, I mean, look what's going on. There's no hiding those facts.
Okay.
Okay?
So
That's one thing.
okay, what's the next one?
The other thing is, and this really has my dander up, if you, let's say you own a company, okay, and you have multiple employees under you, and one of them is out, you know, one of them's out, somebody backs into another private citizen, another company, backs into his truck, rams your truck, it's your company, right? Destroys your truck. But then you say, well, you know what, company B, don't worry about it, I'll pay for it. Okay? Right now, that's exactly what Biden just said on national TV. And don't get me wrong, yes, we need to get that bridge up and running again for that economy. I agree with that.
So wait a minute, you're talking about the bridge collapse over near Baltimore, and Biden saying he's going to use federal dollars to pay for the bridge. Are you suggesting that we should go after the country that the barge was from?
Yes, we should.
Okay.
They're responsible. They're responsible for that boat to run right. And it did fail. It was the boat lost all power, lost all control, and it went into the bridge.
Okay, so how do you respond to folks who might suggest that is likely to happen, but right now that particular metropolitan area does not need bickering between two countries? They need their thoroughfare replaced, and we're talking about loss of lives. Is right now the time to get on the world stage and start having an argument about that?
Well, you know, I agree with you. We need to get that bridge back up and going. We need to, period. However, what Biden should have done, and this would have gained him a lot of traction with folks on the right, he should have come out and said, look, we're going to get this bridge back up and running, but we're going to pursue Singapore or whoever it was, and we're going to force them to pay that money back. You know, had he done that, people on the left would have been happy, and people on the right both would have been happy also.
Well, let me just interject and say this. When you said if he had said that, it would have got him traction on the right. Traction on the right for Biden is not tangible. It would amount to nothing. You're going to vote for Trump no matter what. Any type of traction Biden gets on the right is essentially meaningless. I mean, okay, they're happy I made this statement. Now back to I'm the worst president in U.S. history. So what good is any traction on the right for Biden?
Well, you got to start somewhere.
It's too late. 7 months away.
I agree, but, you know, everybody said that one of the other things you was talking, and I'm going to pivot a little bit, but you'll see how it ties in. The gentleman earlier who was talking about validity, and you read one comment about the presidents that the guy could trust prior to, like, 1964 just doesn't exist on the all-time best presidents.
Okay.
But, you know, and then he was talking about, hey, look, I was a shithead back when, in the beginning of my marriage, but I came around. Well, everybody, you know, it's like Biden. Biden made all these racist remarks and stuff when he was young. Now, I've never heard the apology. I've never heard it.
You never heard him. Remember,
I've never heard Biden.
Let me respond. Let me respond to that. Remember, the right is often chastising both Biden and Obama for being, you know, apologists all over the damn place. In fact, Biden just recently apologized for calling a murderer an illegal immigrant. I can tell you for a fact, Biden has apologized for vote for me, you ain't black, the crime bill. He has apologized for all that stuff. That's one of the biggest issues you guys say all the time is he apologizes too much.
All right. Okay. And you're right. Okay. So I'm just saying I hadn't heard it, but, you know,
Okay.
You verified it. I believe you.
Yeah, he
You know,
apologized.
so you're not going to BS me. Okay. I know that.
Right.
However,
Thank you.
what about, you know, Trump has came out and said, hey, there's things I've done wrong. But where people still get mad at Trump from the left is when Trump quit doing things with people like Hillary, when he quit dealing with Hillary, when he quit dealing with Oprah Winfrey, when he walked away from the left, that's when Trump started getting chastised. Okay?
I gotta push back on this point. I think when Trump was hanging around Oprah Winfrey and, Jesse Jackson and all them, I think African Americans like the guy. I think the reason that, because folks always say, well, all of a sudden, once he became president, he's suddenly a racist. The way Trump talks now in 2024, he wasn't talking like that in 1994. Even Trump himself will admit, I used to identify as a Democrat. He was talking about assault rifle bans and things like that. He is a completely different guy than he was when blacks were favoring this guy. Now he's out there, he's in favor of stop and frisk. He's talking about the police mistreat white people more than blacks. He's a different guy now. He's changed his tune. That's why people view him differently.
And he has changed his tune. And most of the people who view him differently, though, are Democrat-based voters.
Because those are the people he's attacking. He's not attacking right-wingers. Everything he's saying is negative. Didn't he just say the other day?
Well, let me ask this.
Hold on, hang on. I'll let you continue. But didn't he just say the other day that if you are a Jewish person and you vote...
Hey, Handsome, I gotta go.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it at that. But he just said the other day what I was going to tell my caller that before he received the phone call. He just said if you're Jewish and you vote Democrat, you hate Israel. I mean, you hate the Jewish religion. He just said that like a few days ago. So there's a reason why Democrats don't favor Trump. He's attacking the hell out of Democrats. I don't know how it would be to really be favorable to someone that's constantly insulting you. And before I go back to the box, I understand the viewpoint from my beloved MAGA, my folks on the right, that you should vote based on policies, based on the direction a commander-in-chief is leading this country, as opposed to being, voting based on your feelings. But here is the counterpoint I often present. If you had Obama as president, or Biden as president, doing the exact same things as Trump in terms of policy, in terms of the economy, gun rights, you name it, literally leading the country as a mirror copy of Trump. But they were criticizing gun owners and Christians all the damn time. I don't believe Republicans or MAGA would ignore that. I don't believe they would ignore it at all. I don't think all of this crap about I vote based on policies, but not my feelings. When this guy is in office constantly criticizing Christians and gun owners, I don't believe they would ignore that. I believe the reason why it is easy to suggest ignoring Trump's insults, name calling, and tweets is because they're not aimed at you. It's real easy to ignore an insult when they're not aimed at you. But when somebody's constantly insulting you all damn day, and you're being told, well, just pay attention to what I'm doing. Ignore the insults that I'm lobbing at you. I don't think it's that easy. I do believe that if you had a left-winger in there constantly insulting right-wing causes, even with a great economy, I don't think they would ignore that. Looking in the comments, though, he insults this country, says Lynn Walker. Yikes, the whole country, huh? Going back to the box, I don't know if that says Diva Talks. I can't pronounce that. But good afternoon. Like Democrats insult Trump constantly, says Yo Mama. I love the name, but by the way, if you're president, you don't have to answer every fight you're invited to. The president of the United States should not stoop to the level of responding to every Democratic attack. Remember when Kanye West during Hurricane Katrina suggested that George W. Bush does not like black people on Saturday Night Live? I have George Bush's book he wrote, I think it's called Decision or Talking Points, that he wrote when he left office. He stated that made him cry. He didn't get out there and attack Kanye West. Is it possible to let some things roll off of you? Diva? How do I pronounce that name?
Yeah, no, everyone, it's spelled differently, but everybody on TikTok calls me Diva.
Okay,
so you're good.
All right. Biden, worst president in history, Diva. Talk to me.
Absolutely not. Not in any way, shape, or form. He is a good, decent, empathetic, actual Christian man. He goes to church every Sunday. He's empathetic.
But does he have his own Bible? If he's a Christian, does he have his own Bible? We want a Christian that has his own Bible.
Well, I would say that a real Christian wouldn't be hawking a Bible. So,
okay, you win.
I think it's rather blasphemous, if you want to ask me, because he put in with the Bible, he put like the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and Lee Greenwood song lyrics and crazy shit. And I'm like, I don't know what this man is doing. But he's gone from a shoe salesman to a Bible salesman. And these people are like, yes, that's presidential material right there.
So how do you respond to now Dynasty Shawwell on YouTube? We run a simultaneous on YouTube. Said Trump is still the lesser of two evils. In other words, both presidents have their flaws. But what about folks who might suggest, well, with Trump, the economy and things like that, I'm willing to entertain Trump a little bit more because he's a lesser of two evils?
Well, I think that Trump wants to slide us very fast into fascism. So I think he's much more evil.
Wow.
Because anyone who says they want to be a dictator for a day is all out lying. Because if you know dictators from anything in history, there's never been a dictator that gave up his power off on day one.
That is true.
So you can't convince me that when he's... And then not only that, a true dictator only needs one day. If you want to get technical, because he can dismantle Congress, he can dismantle the equal branches of government, and he can just take over as a dictator. He would only need one day.
But do you believe Trump is...
what he's going to do.
Do you believe Trump is capable...
I believe him 100%.
You believe he's capable of something so harsh?
I 100% do, because he's a malignant narcissist, and all he cares about is power and his ego, and he will do whatever he has to do to stay in power.
What do you think of his first term?
Ugh. It was...
You remind me of what, a Doja Cat? All right, keep going.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna say, I think that his first term, the first 2 years, he was riding Obama's economy coattails. That happens after every presidential term. The first year and a half to 2 years of the next president's term is riding off of the policies of the previous one. So he was handed a really, really good economy. And then when COVID hit, had he taken it seriously, and had he done more, and had he not wiped out the entire pandemic response team that the Obama-Biden administration had put into place to deal with such a thing, I think a lot of lives would have been saved. And I think if he would have taken it seriously, he might have been reelected.
So you believe Trump has bodies on his hands?
I 100% believe he does. Wow. Because if you listen to the Bob Woodward tapes, he knew in like November of 2019, he was warned, and he even said it in the interview, that he knew it was like 100 times worse than the flu.
Wow.
But he didn't want people to panic.
So what? I'm going to steer you in a different direction, because you often hear Trump suggesting his political adversaries are trying to use the justice system. On YouTube, Reggie states that, "Lady, you're a joke," referring to you, by the way. "Lady, you're a joke. Biden is a dictator now, pushing the DOJ to arrest Trump. Political opponent assassin." How do you respond to Trump and many of his supporters suggesting that Biden somehow is using the government to prevent Trump from being president again, or even try to take away his finances or even his freedom?
Well, number one, there's zero evidence of that. Biden has specifically said out loud, he does not. He says, "I have nothing to do with the DOJ. They're a separate department. I don't get involved." Biden has said very little, if anything, about all of Trump's cases, all of the stuff. And if he was really a dictator, and if he was really controlling the Department of Justice, do you think he'd be allowing his son to be being prosecuted right now?
That's a
Don't you
great
think
comeback.
He would have stopped the prosecution into his own son?
That is a great comeback. Yeah.
Yeah, he has stayed back. He has been hands off. And we know for a fact that if it was Don Jr. or Eric that was being prosecuted and Trump was president, it would have stopped, or it never would have started, because we all know that Trump had complete control of Bill Barr.
Yeah.
And he did the dirty work for Trump. So there's no evidence whatsoever that Biden has done anything. And if the truth be known, if Trump supporters are actually honest with themselves, when they were doing the January 6th impeachment of Trump, Mitch McConnell said, we don't need to do this here in the Congress. This is something that can be prosecuted afterwards.
That was a shell game.
Prosecute him afterwards.
Yeah, that was a shell game. When they were trying to impeach Trump for January 6th, to make an excuse not to impeach him, they said do it criminally. So when they started doing it criminally, folks said, well, you know, he was found not guilty while he was impeached. Yeah, because you didn't want to do it. Now, in regards to one other aspect of President Trump, because folks suggest he's intolerant. Name Barbara with a very kind super chat says, now he's talking about Trump from a racial aspect. I want to run this by you. He says that shit that gets me points out racist things about Trump or racist people surrounding him was never crying racism, then follow up with, I'll tell you what's really racist. The crime bill of Biden in 94. Do you see Trump, because he's suggesting that folks say that Trump is not really intolerant or racist, but rather Biden is. Between those two, do you see any racism at all? Do you see it coming from either one or both? Or, you know, is it all just made up?
Oh, I 100% see racism, and I'll tell you the difference between Biden and Trump. The 1994 crime bill was not a Biden policy. It wasn't even one that he wrote. Now, he did vote for it, but the Congressional Black Caucus did as well. Everyone was on board with the 1994 crime bill because they could not and did not anticipate that judges would use overkill, so to speak, that they would punish more harshly than, you know, was supposed to be. Now, has everyone come out since then and said, okay, maybe it didn't do what we intended, our bad, but they at least tried. But the Congressional Black Caucus also voted for it. So it was not a racist bill back then. Yeah. On the other hand, you've got Donald Trump, who has dinner with Nick Fuentes and who tells the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by, and tells people about the Charlottesville march that there's good people on both sides. No, I think that Trump either is racist or is racist, or he doesn't care that his followers are.
Wow.
Because if you might not be a racist yourself, but okay, let's see. This is how I say it. Not all Republicans are racist, but all racists are Republican.
Wow.
So if that's who you surround yourself with, it's called being complicit.
Wow.
And if it's not a deal breaker for you to leave the party, then you know what? You call a spade a spade.
I can't push back on. All right, Diva. Appreciate you coming in. First time, clearly our first time talking, because I would have remembered your name. Certainly come on back through anytime. Doors are always open to you.
Absolutely. I watch you all the time, usually while I'm working, but I don't usually get a chance to come up. But today I wanted to come up.
And it's an honor having you here. Don't be a stranger.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Now, I've heard her statement before. What do you guys think? By way of yes or no, in regards, or better yet, fact or lie. Feel free to type in fact or lie. Her statement, all Trump supporters are not racist, but all racists support Trump. Fact or lie? What say you folks? Wow. All Trump supporters are not racist, but all racists support. Yikes. There are racists on both sides, says the choir. And I actually do. Look, I believe the Nation of Islam under Farrakhan, Minister Louis Farrakhan, there's a lot of racism in there. So there is racists on both sides. But she had a strong point. I did want to present it to the crowd. Racists love Trump. Yikes. Buy Trump's Bibles. He needs it. I think there's some validity there. Right now, Donald J. Trump, red state today, Georgia Republicans made it harder for blacks to vote. I don't like that at all. And I'll tell you this. There are voting games on both sides. Before I go back to the box, I just run this by you. There are voting games on both sides. The liberals tend to make it easier for fraudsters to vote. Mail-in votes, not needing an ID in a lot of liberal states, allow you to vote all over the place. So it does, mail-in, like I say, voting on the internet, you name it, because liberals believe voting should be as easy as possible, which opens up the door for a lot of fraud. The folks on the right, however, favor making it harder to vote. They believe it actually curtails fraud. There's some validity to that. But the difference is, while making it easier to vote makes it easier to commit fraud, making it harder to vote means that you may actually block someone who had a legal right to cast a ballot from doing so. Which is why anytime you hear someone proposing a law or legislation to make it easier to vote, it's generally a liberal. Anybody trying to make it harder to vote, limiting polling places, reducing the hours they're open, moving mailboxes, it's generally folks on the right. And if you notice, in right-wing states, some of their liberal areas have voters in line for hours trying to cast a ballot. It's generally in a liberal city in a Republican state. Tell me that's not being done by design? No one in America should be in line for 6, 7, 8 hours to vote. There's just no legitimate excuse for that. Other than by making it a bit difficult, perhaps some of these people would get out of line. It's in a liberal area, so that there's a high likelihood, a high statistical probability that everybody get out of line are liberals. That generally happens. Cleveland, Atlanta, it's in red states, but liberal areas. It's done by design, So I do believe both sides play games when it comes to voting. Let's go with the simple majority. I don't quite get that comment. Man, where you come from, don't you know what fascist means? Do you know what MAGA means? Can you be the man? I don't quite get your comment there either, Sunfish. Going back to the box, Anthony Hawkins, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Biden, worst president in U.S. history. Wow. Trump said that. Anthony, good afternoon.
What's up, buddy?
Not much at all.
No talk.
Good to have you on. So what do you think? Worst president in U.S. history since Trump?
So, I'm not super political. I'm not super educated on all policies and all politics. I do know that I had money in my pocket under Trump. I've never voted for Trump, never voted for Biden. I've been a felon. Under Trump's term, I was able to start voting, but I never cared about politics until recently.
What industry?
My house, my vehicle, my groceries.
What industry are you in?
Landscaping.
Okay. How do you believe Trump led to you having more money in your pocket?
I mean, like I said, I'm not political, so I can't tell you policies to give you 1,000% of what the policies were that helped me. I just know that I had cash in my bank. I was able to afford things. My groceries wasn't through the roof. I mean, the gas wasn't crazy. Things weren't nuts. I didn't have to lock my doors.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Where do you live at where crime went up because of, what area of the country are you in?
Ohio.
Major metropolitan area, rural area?
Yeah, I'm right outside of Columbus.
Okay, and you
I'm where the viral immigrants are squatting in houses and stealing cars and shit.
All right, fair enough. So you're locking your door because there's a possibility of immigrants coming in there and stealing your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about it. There's a pew pew in every window. and everybody's trained in the house to take care of business. We've had our handgun 101. We got our CCW. We've went the right routes. I mean, I've been a felon for 15
How do you wait a minute? Are you suggesting that you're a felon in possession?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I went to the court system and got my rights restored.
Okay.
Trump pushed the felon because we were felons. We could, if we voted, that's taxation without representation. We wasn't allowed to vote. We wasn't allowed to do anything as a felon, but we still had to pay taxes. Go do the research. Under Trump, that shit changed. I was able to get my gun rights restored. I'm not a violent felon. I broke my back when I was 20. I was on some pain pills. I caught some felonies for some bullshit. I'm not saying it was some bullshit, but it was some bullshit.
I get it.
Yeah. So I was able to get my rights restored with a little bit of paperwork and a couple dollars. And now I'm able to vote. Now I'm able to carry a gun. I got my CC. I got my rights restored.
Now,
things change.
Folks in the comments are suggesting that as a felon, being able to get your rights restored, it was something that came from Obama. I'm not for sure on this one, so I'm going to plead ignorance. I'm not for sure, but they're suggesting that thanks to policies from Obama, you were able to do that.
Well, my life changed under Trump, not Obama. I couldn't tell you Obama because I didn't give a shit about politics, guns, or none of that shit because I was a felon at the time. I couldn't carry a gun. Yeah, I was scared shitless of carrying a gun. But when I went under Trump, when I found out that I could do that paperwork, yeah, I did that paperwork.
I would say this. I think the way you orated, I think you give a good reason for why somebody under your circumstance should vote for Trump. However, I think you might be giving Trump credit for things that he may have not done. So in your case, as opposed to just, blindly voting for Trump, not saying it is a bad vote for what you're giving him credit for. I would say you should verify. You should verify he actually is responsible for it.
And you might be right. I don't care for Trump as a person. Mm-hmm. I just know under Trump, I lived better.
Okay.
Look, Trump as a person doesn't make me feel good or bad. I don't care what he says. It doesn't hurt my feelings because he talks shit about the people that are doing wrong. If you literally watch the news every day, a different pedophile is getting caught every day. Now, when he said he drained the swamp, I still believe P. Diddy. That's part of the swamp. I still think the swamp's being drained every day. Whether I believe in Trump or Biden or not, I don't give a shit.
Why do you think? Let me ask you this. Why do you think P. Diddy is part of the swamp?
Because he's part of the elite pedophile ring.
How do you know?
I mean, I've been banned on your platform more than any of my whole 9 accounts. I've been banned.
We're not trying to do that. We're not trying to get you banned. But the reason why I asked you that. Go ahead.
I'm not QAnon. I'm not. Look, but I mean, I've read. There's .gov sites. There's .mil sites. I mean, you just have to look at it through two different eyes. You can look on the left side, you can look on the right side, but you have to be willing to look on the other side too.
Yeah. Is it possible so let me ask you this. Now the feds,
sure,
various states and the federal government are accusing Trump of committing all kinds of crimes. Do you believe he is guilty of some of the crimes they're accusing him of?
Listen, if the proof comes out, he's guilty. If the proof comes out on Biden, he's guilty. I'm not going to judge them until they're found guilty. I can't.
But you're judging P. Diddy.
I'm not judging him. I'm just telling you what is out there.
You just said
he's guilty.
Hold on.
Did I say he's guilty?
You said he's part of the swamp. You said he's part of the swamp.
Yeah, you could be right about that. Yeah. Yeah, you could be right about that.
Okay, so I want to make sure you're giving everybody a fair assertion. If you're giving Trump, go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, I can't judge him because of the allegations. Just like I can't. judge Trump nor Biden, nor Obama. I can't judge them all, and it's all part of the media bullshit, trying to fuck with our heads and tell everybody. They tell us everybody's guilty before they're found guilty. You're right.
Okay. So at the end of the day, though, right now as we speak, Trump has your vote.
No.
No. You're still undecided 7 months out?
I'm 100% not voting for Biden, and it could be I don't vote. This will be my first time voting if I vote, but no, Trump doesn't 100% have my vote.
Wow. Okay, but you had more money under him. You had a good life under Trump. You got your rights back, but you're not for sure you're gonna vote for him.
Yeah, because me personally, I don't consent to any of the government corruption that's going on. Whether it's under Trump or Biden, I still believe the government's corrupt. Why would I give my consent to allow them to be more corrupt?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still undecided.
All right, last question. Speaking of being undecided,
Sure.
In your opinion, I don't know if you even watched it because you said you weren't big into politics, but if you have, in your opinion, what happened on January 6th?
I mean, I don't know. I've seen all the news and all the X clips and all this. Of course, they say there was feds involved. Of course, they say there's not feds involved. I mean, that's a tough decision because I can believe that there was corruption involved. I can believe that. And until I'm proven otherwise, I can believe it happened.
Okay.
It could have been a small amount of shitty people doing a bad thing, but not everybody there was there for a bad purpose.
Okay. You believe it's possible that you believe it's possible that the entire federal government may be making up a lie on Trump because they're all saying he's responsible.
I don't believe he was responsible. No.
Okay.
I don't believe Trump was responsible, but I believe people were hung there at the gallows, and there's video of the gallows from the DC.
Whoa! You believe on January? Wait a minute. You believe people lost?
Not on January 6th. So if you go back and look at the Washington DC cameras, there was gallows built at the White House, at the Capitol. And J6 was a distraction to cover. I'm about to get banned, so gotta go.
All right, man. Wow.
I appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow.
I'll be open. All right, moving it on. Wow, I wanted to hear more of that. I wanted to hear where he was going with that because I didn't know that. And I see in the comments, Linda says, oh, God, he's MAGA pretending to be ignorant. Okay. How does that work? MAGA pretending to be ignorant. Wow. He drank the Kool-Aid, says Megan. Here we go. Stop lying. You guys are ready for that, huh? Host is dangerous for our democracy, says intellectual honesty. Love the name. Baffled by the comment. Yours truly, probably one of the few folks on this particular platform, and my YouTube folks as well, where I believe every damn body out there should have the right to speak, regardless of their opinion. Somehow I'm the most dangerous for our democracy. Please let me know how that worked. I'm glad, thank God for keep that shit in your... What does that say, King Finn? I'm glad, thank God, keep that shit in your 9 accounts. Wow, you guys are harsh to my guest. That was funny though. You are the most trustworthy. Thank you, Conservative Moon. Appreciate the accolade, Miss Mo Better with the lightning bolt. Shout out to you. By the way, I never solicited tapping the screen. It's probably been a while. Normally like to get around 100,000 likes. We've had around 1,000 folks in the forum, almost the entire live stream. So we should have got around 100,000. I didn't ask you folks to do that. It helps out the algorithm. Make sure the program is stacked heavy on the MAGA side. You know what I like. Wow, Big Bert 1211, thank you very much. Yeah, certainly tap the screen. Get your boy likes on a Big Bird with the generosity. I cannot thank you enough. Continuing the program on, we'll go to Kelly Dutcher, 6'8", in reference to Joseph R. Biden being literally the worst president in American history, says President Trump. Trunks, thank you. Kelly, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. Are we currently living under the worst presidential administration in American history?
No.
So what did Trump mean when he said it?
Joe Biden will go down in history as one of the best presidents,
Wow.
one of the most effective presidents in American history.
Biden, one of the best and most effective in history, huh? What do you believe Biden has accomplished to give him such a accolade?
Well, first and foremost, his infrastructure bill. Our country is crumbling. I mean, infrastructure-wise, and
Let me interrupt you. I'll let you continue, but I wanted to point this out. Andrew in the comments found that information. Says the law that restores felons' rights was signed into law in 2010 under Barack Obama. So there you go. So you mentioned the infrastructure bill there, Kelly, talking about Biden's contributions to this country, as you state, one of the best presidents in history. Continue.
Well, that's just one example. All the bills that he has passed, CHIPS Act, CARES Act, Inflation Reduction Act, he has done this under a completely divided Congress.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I don't think anybody could do.
So let me ask you this then. If Biden, in your opinion, one of the best commander-in-chiefs in our history, why is his poll number so damn low with Democrats? Most Democrats voting in this election are going to be voting against Trump. They're not voting for Biden. If he's done so much, why do so many people view him with lackluster support?
Because they think he's too old.
Well, Trump is only like 3.5, 4 years younger. It's not like Trump is a spring chicken.
Well, we think he's too old too, but those are our choices. And, we don't need him to run a marathon. We don't need him to, go fight another, we need his knowledge. We need his experience. Yeah, I mean, Trump can't articulate a policy. He couldn't write a bill.
So you don't think
he couldn't label a country on a map?
You really don't think Trump's very intelligent? Sound like your name, Barbara. Hang on a second, real quick. Name, Barbara. I wasn't judging your comment. I was reading it. Certainly, actually agreed with some of it. And also, he said, if people bought my Bible, I could do better. So, but you don't. Because he mentioned, speaking of which, he mentioned selling Bibles. You don't sound like you think Trump's a very intelligent individual.
No, I don't. He's a very, I don't even like to use the word charismatic because that has a positive notation. I think he's disgusting, personally. But he's very able to, he's a salesman, and still that baffles me too. But as I was saying, you can sit Joe Biden down, give him any country, any territory on the planet. He can tell you what's going on there. He can tell you how it affects us. He can tell you, how we could work together or not to be in our best interests. He knows he has relationships with all, be them bad or good. He has decades-long relationships with leaders around the world.
And well, let me ask you, and I see somebody in the comments responded to your statement. Islamophobic ASF, wow, that's the name, says, is this satire? Talking about your statements now, which would lead me to, is your name satire? Islamophobic, wow. Anyhow, If Trump, I mean, better yet, if Trump is the way you're suggesting there, Kelly, 74 million votes. How does a man accomplish that based on what you're saying about him?
He's a con man. I would suggest, don't look so surprised.
Con man.
Come on. I would just like to suggest to everyone to read. I read a lot. I read everything. I read the freaking Mueller report. Let me tell you, that was not an easy read. I've got it right on my bookshelf. I would suggest everybody read A Warning by Anonymous. It was written by someone who, didn't want to be named because he didn't want to be thrown out of the White House. It was written by someone in Trump's administration that worked daily in the White House. It is the most dysfunctional, crazy thing you would ever read. He was described by this person as a 5-year-old in an air traffic control tower, randomly pushing buttons, completely unaware of planes flying off the runway and frantically diverting themselves to other airports.
Oh my God. Now, Jody in the comments states, just because it's written doesn't mean it's factual. And by the way, there's a lot of, for you, the way you're painting Trump and other folks suggesting that he goes against women's rights and things like that, there's a lot of female MAGA out there. Why do you think, to conclude this, why do you think that there are so many women supporting Trump if liberals are suggesting he's so bad to women and women's rights?
I couldn't begin, I wouldn't even try to explain why people vote against their own interests. I have no idea. But I just want to finish with this one thing. All you have to do is listen to everyone that was part of his administration that he got rid of. That, sir, you can't do that. That's illegal. You're fired. Somebody else. Over and over again. Everyone says he is completely unequipped, dangerous, unfit. There aren't enough words to describe it according to them. I'm going to trust them. They work side by side with them.
Well, that is true. They certainly were in close proximity, and I do believe that is valid. I don't think there's any member of Trump's administration that is speaking favorably of him right now or endorsing him. That does leave a lot of questions to be asked. Why is your whole administration speaking negatively? I don't know where else to go with that. But Kelly, I do appreciate you coming on. Always a pleasure.
Nice to talk to you again. We'll see you next time. I am off to work. Have a great day, man.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Looking in I got something going on here with the damn device. Hang on a second. There we go. All right. Looking in the comment section there. Trump leaving for dry. I don't quite get that. I don't support Trump just because my husband does, says Jody. I don't think any woman, and I'm not doubting your statement, Jody. I don't know you from Adam. But I don't think any woman's going to come out and admit I'm only voting for somebody because my husband does. No woman's going. Even the women that are doing it are not going to admit that. So when you say you're not voting for Trump because your husband does, I don't have any reason to doubt you. But I will say that the women who do vote that way aren't going to come out and tell you because it makes them look like an idiot. So nobody's going to tell you that. And I would also suggest that there are some women that are probably going to portray themselves as going one way politically because it appeases their friends, family, and associates, get in the ballot box and do just the opposite. I do believe there are some women that have a gripe with rolling back Roe v. Wade that may be in areas, communities, localities that don't want to come out and say that pissed them off. So you won't know. It's because we had a few guests bring up what happened in Alabama the other day. Blood red area. Someone ran on women's rights and won, a liberal. Very unusual for Alabama. So we'll see. We'll see. But I will say this. Even though the polls suggest Biden is in trouble, the actual results since Trump has been on the scene says just the opposite. Remember the red wave and what the polls were saying? How likely that was to happen? All of the elections since Trump has been on the scene have been bad for the Republican Party, like literally all of them. 2018, that midterm, obviously 2020, a hell of a lot of people believe the election was stolen, but 2020 did not go good for Republicans. 2022, the red wave never happened. Even some of the elections last year, smaller down ballot elections last year, were surprisingly pro-democratic. They all have been unfavorable for the Republican Party, even though the polls have suggested otherwise. So we'll see what happens in 7 months. Nevertheless, you know how the program is ran. I do appreciate you folks. The 108,000 likes. You could be anywhere you want to be this Friday afternoon. Always a pleasure having you here with yours truly. The comments, but there's odd proof but there's odds. No proof of it being stolen. There is proof Trump tried and failed, says Ryan Oles. I do agree with that. My take on the 2020 election is it's been 3 years. If the 2020 election was stolen, certainly to the point where Trump is saying he won by a landslide, there should be more evidence. More evidence should have come forward. I have a hard time, me personally, I know a hell of a lot of you disagree, maybe you think differently, but I have a hell of a time believing that between 2017 and January 2021, Trump was the only honest person in Washington. Everybody else was a liar. Everybody else was not in favor of a fair election. Only Trump was in. I have a hard time believing that. And the reason I'm using that statement is because virtually no one in Washington is saying Trump won. Just about all of Washington, not just liberals. How many Republican Congress, Republican senators, Republican governors are saying that Trump won in 2020? All of Washington was against a free and fair election. Only Trump. Trump was the only honest man in Washington for 4 years. I have a hard time believing it. That doesn't make sense to me. That even Republicans that had Trump been reelected would all still be in power, still earning a paycheck. Why would they lie? Mike Pence, second in charge, would still be second in charge had Trump won and was reelected. Why would he lie and cause Trump not to be reelected? What has Mike Pence gained since Trump left office? Why would he do that? Why would he not stand up and say, no, we won by a landslide? That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe you have a difference of opinion to it, but the idea that all of Washington was corrupt and crooked and Trump was the only legitimate person in Washington between 2017 and 2021, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's just my opinion of it. In the comments, Trump drained the swamp by having them commit crimes for him, and they got arrested, says Kareem. Well, I don't buy into the fact he drained the swamp, but there are certainly some folks that have went down. Trump isn't there someone right now serving time for refusing to answer a subpoena or something like that? There's a guy right now that is from Trump's inner circle that just went to jail a few days ago. So yeah, that does happen. But yeah, anytime everybody has something in common with one person, and the one person is saying they're all bad and I'm good, I have to question it. And Trump is saying that all of Washington was corrupt, and I'm the only innocent person. In regards to the 2020 election, unless I see more evidence, that one's hard to swallow. That one is hard to swallow. And it becomes even increasingly more harder to swallow when Trump spent his entire term going around saying that some of those folks who are now considered rhinos, swamp creatures, treasonous and traitors, he was telling us they were all great people. Everybody from General Milley to Mike Pence. He was saying none but great things about these people. Some of these folks, Mike Pence, Liz Cheney, they were awesome if you ask Trump on January 5th. On January 6th, they suddenly turned into evil monsters. That is hard to swallow. That Mike Pence was a good guy for the Republican Party, for the direction of this country throughout his entire term, if you ask Trump. All of a sudden on January 6th, he turns into a traitor. It is hard to swallow that. If Trump is savvy enough to doing such a bad job at picking cabinet members, like all of them are bad, like you didn't make any good choices at all, that is problematic in my humble opinion. Nevertheless, I appreciate you folks tuning in Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. We're on the program. Come on back through. Well, wait a minute. I did hit one other person there. Miss Mobetta. If you won't lie and cheat, you can't be down with Trump. Yikes. Miss Mobetta, worst president in history. I'll give it to you.
So the people must not have been studying Nixon and all those other presidents that we had before Trump.
Well, wait a minute. I would take the other side, though, and suggest that President Nixon didn't let in millions of undocumented, unvetted people in this country.
Well, this is what I'm saying. And this is what makes the hypocrisy so, for a lack of a better word, astounding, or whatever we want to call it. But don't be selective by what you want to call good and evil as far as it comes to the presidents. Now, when it comes to the democracy, we're not going to like what all presidents do at all times. It's just not humanly possible. I'm sorry. Even with your own party. Yeah, we like Biden. Do we like everything he does? No. We like Obama? No. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be times that we're not going to like what they're going to do. You know what I mean? Again, Trump, he sets his own precedent. And then...
Is it a good precedent? Is it a good precedent?
Absolutely not. Because of his speech. His mouth will not allow people to I'm not going to say people because he does have a lot of followers. I'm not going to say that.
A lot.
He has a lot of followers. But that goes back to what I was saying a long time ago, that it's more of a racial issue than people actually want to admit. Because when Obama was running, Obama couldn't even wear as much as a tan suit without being criticized. And, he didn't wear the pin. And you know what I'm saying? Oh, he smoked cigarettes. The stuff that come at us with, he's been making a bad policy, then we will rock with you. We already know what that was now. Y'all don't like this man because he's a black man.
Wow.
A lot of them didn't like Obama because he was a black man. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. That's the only way you're going to get rid of that. I'm sorry.
Wow. You think Trump is part of that coalition?
He started it. He started that. He started that with, let's check with Obama's, he wasn't born in America and different things like that. Like, come on. Y'all really wasting people's time on that? Then you saying things, the media recorded it, and once they played it back, y'all want to say the media is bad. That's a whole double standard.
So when Trump was in office from 2017 to 2021, did you see any actual race? Because he said he did more for blacks than anybody. Did you see any actual racism from the man while he was president?
No, because I probably wasn't looking. However, when it comes to he's saying he did more for black people, I'm still waiting to see that, because if he's talking about the HBCUs, the bill and stuff that he put forth never got approved under him. Even if he did put it out there, he did not push it through. He kind of he redacted it. He took it back. So you ask the Howard University students how they suffered because he did more for black people allegedly. Yeah. So they're not asking the right people to these questions when they speak of that he did more for black people. I'm still waiting to see what it is, because my paycheck now and my paycheck under Trump is the same.
So, see,
and I'm a black woman. I'm just saying.
Well, CMB Corrado in the comments says Biden said many racist things, way more than Trump. Do you see Biden as being a racist?
I don't. I believe he was raised. They both were raised in racist times. Yeah. They're 80-something years old. They still had the Jim Crow laws and all of that stuff when they were growing up. So to say that neither one of them have racist tendencies would be foolish. Be foolish. They come from down there where they still have sundown towns and different things like that. See, what it was, Trump was from New York. You know, New Yorkers, I'm from New York also. We have a different level of audacity. He took that and ran with it until New York found out what kind of con man he really is. What kind of con man he really is. Now New York is so bad, but most of your money and stuff you made was right here in New York.
Yeah.
So knock it off. You know.
But
knock it all the way off. But they both, again, I'd be foolish to say that they don't have racist tendencies.
Okay, so with them both having racist tendencies, now you said your check hasn't changed from Biden to Trump, which is interesting because if you don't get paid more from Trump to Biden, you sure are paying more for the things you buy. So it sounds like you're on the Trump train.
Well, what it is, that because of all the price gouging and things going on, I make a little more money now. I do.
Okay.
And I'm not even going to hold you. I do. I make more money than I did under Trump. I did. But I'm still waiting to hear specifics when people say that. Oh, he did more. Oh, we had these PPP loans. And listen, they only came out with the PPP loans because he failed to adapt the
COVID protocols,
Obama left in place
yeah.
as far as the pandemic with. He denied all of that stuff. You had it in place. You had the ball in your hand and you dropped it. You calling it a hoax. You saying that, oh, it's not real. I mean, and I'm not making this stuff up. You can go back and Google this stuff yourself.
I know.
You know, this is the stuff. So how do you expect people, true patriots, to actually follow and adapt to that? And, you know, what do you expect us to do at that point?
Now, you use the term true patriots. I want you to elaborate on it. What do you mean by that?
I knew you was going to ask.
Damn right. Damn right. The floor is yours.
Because the true patriots, and a lot of people speak of this on your
on the live,
you yourself speak about this. Well, you talking about with the homeless and different things like that. There were homeless peoples before that border issue. They weren't taking care of it. So where's your patriotism?
Yeah.
Where is it? So again, the hypocrisy is just it's out of control almost. It's almost out of control. Because they pick and choose what they want to say, what's bad and what's good, because of who the person is.
All right. I'm glad I brought you up, Miss Mobetta. Always a pleasure.
You did too.
Thank you.
I watch your show like it's what you call All My Children or something.
All right, well, I'll play Jesse if you be Angie. Appreciate you.
And you know that's my real name too, Angie.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Well, you may not be old enough to remember Jesse and Angie, but you old enough to remember that?
I'm over 50 years old.
Okay. All right. My fault. I didn't know. I can't see a picture.
I just look good. I just wear it well, you know.
I like that. Thank you, Angie. Come on back anytime. Appreciate it. Okay.
Have a good.
You too. And folks, as I was stating, I watch him daily too. Thank you for the folks that do tune in. I do appreciate the support. True patriots have honor, something that MAGA doesn't have, says fellow TikToker. You think? I don't know about that. There's a hell of a lot of MAGA that have served in the military. There are MAGA on the police force. I don't know if I'd agree to suggest that the entire MAGA movement is dishonorable. That's a bit much. I'm old too, yeah. But you know something? Listen, we're talking politics, even though I give credit to Trump for bringing so many people to the political sphere. Yeah, most 20-year-olds, they're not very interested in talking politics. So it's generally going to be folks that are 35 and older that are going to be, because this stuff affects us a hell of a lot more. Some of us don't have a lot of time for this shit to get corrected. I mean, 10 years, 15 years, a lot of us going to be retiring. I turned 50. They're sending me double ARP shit in the mail. I didn't ask for that. Damn. Let me feel like I'm young before you send me old shit in the mail. So a lot of us are, once we get of age, politics matter more because it affects our lives a lot more than someone who is 20, 25. They got a hell of a lot of time to correct things that are going on. So fair enough. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate you tuning in. 120,000. You know how we run the program. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. 1 p.m. Central. Catch you guys tomorrow. I will be on. YouTubers, thank you as well. Appreciate the support. Catch you later. If I can get this app to work.